Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Hey, guys. I almost forgot what day it was, actually. I'm just kidding. It's Thursday already? Crazy.
Yeah, it's flying by, man.
I
Always.
know, right? Because this is our fourth public last Thursday. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, so we're doing good over here. It's been very nice weather, and then all of a sudden we kind of got like a cold snap and some rain. So feels very chilly, like wintry almost again.
Right. Totally. I don't mind it.
I don't either. It's funny how it just slowly comes in, but then like one day it'll just be like spring.
Right. And we've talked about this before, but where we live, the weather is always in flux. And so that's just like a thing where literally it can be sunny, it can be rainy, it could hail and snow in the same day. That's happened before.
Yeah.
And so
easily.
it just changes so much. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is
like
cool.
it.
I like it too. It keeps you on your toes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what do we have to drink today?
Oh, today we have mulled cider, which seems maybe not seasonal, but at one of the grocery stores in town, they had a cider from a local cider like maker
Nice.
in Mount Hood. And so I couldn't resist because I love cider.
Right.
And I love to mull cider. So this has been going since about 9:00 this morning.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great.
Hell yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mulled it
No
proper
surprise,
too. Because if when you mull cider, you want to use the mulling spices, right? But one of the tricks I learned is that just slicing like an orange thinly and putting it into the cider while you warm it up. And oh my God, the orange brings such a cool, crisp, but like you get like the bitterness from the orange peel at the back.
For sure.
It's so good. It's just really nice. So I could drink this all year round. Even if it was cold, I like mulled cider. So
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm into it. Thank you so much. We've had a nice variety so far with our drinks.
yeah, I think we'll be able to keep that tradition alive for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so we have some people in the chat. Let's see what's going on. Hank is here, Flat Earth Hippie.
What up?
Hank the Hippie, very faithful viewer of ours.
And friend.
And a great friend, swell dude. Hey, what's up? Third Eye Edify podcast.
Hi, George. Nice
George
to see you.
is great. Yeah. You know, I actually, I know he did an episode with his wife that I want to check out.
Oh.
I don't know if that's released. George, you should update us in the chat if that's actually available or what, or maybe actually include the link. Because I want to check that out. I know you were talking about it, but I think he's in the midst of moving and stuff like that too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So Bubs Bird Bear.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you for being here and hanging.
Just made some new shampoo bars, FYI.
Ooh, yeah, she's interested.
Yeah, well, she actually was able to get her husband off of Head and Shoulders
Oh,
with the shampoo bar.
nice.
Yeah, so anyway, that'll be ready in a couple weeks. But yeah, it's really great because I could tell a difference. I ran out of it for myself, and I notice a difference when I'm not using it as well. So.
You were just talking about that.
We were just talking about it last night.
Yeah. So hello, Michelle. I don't know if I said that already. Jenny G, what's going on?
What's
nice
up,
to
Jenny?
see you as always.
Thanks for being here.
Hope all is well. Oh, sweet. It's her very first last Thursday live. Nice.
Woo!
Very cool. Hey there, Mari. Nice to see you, Artist Seer.
Hey, Mary.
Cool. Yep. So she's saying that he loves them.
Good. I love it. That's
No
great.
No surprise. Honestly, I know it's like I probably say this every single week, but every like product that Michelle makes is like my favorite version of whatever it is you just made.
Yeah. Thank you.
know, so yeah, it's just you're a queen at it.
Yeah, it feels second nature to me, and I've been doing it for such a long time that now a lot of this stuff can come together, fairly quickly or easily. And then because I have the background in it, I can experiment with certain things and
Right.
kind of know, like have a better gauge on, will that work or will this oil work? And kind of knowing those questions even before I sometimes experiment with it.
Right.
But I'm always learning as well.
So you just made some stuff today.
I did, yeah. I just made another batch of our CBD body butter whip.
Right.
It's awesome.
It's so good, honestly.
He loves it. He's been asking me because we were out of it, and Mario's been requesting it for the past about week or so. And finally today, before the show, just about a couple hours ago, I just whipped up a batch, and it is really lovely. I actually realize sometimes when I make something that we're out of, I realize how much I miss it sometimes.
You know what you should do for this one?
What's that?
Actually, because it's so good. Everyone comments on the texture. Mm-hmm. So getting nice close up, like macro shots of the texture.
Yeah.
We should go out of our way to do that.
Okay, that'd be fun.
Even if we use the good camera or whatever we end up doing. But I think people seeing the texture for what it is, and once you know, like once you've had it, it really is. It's like a special sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think kind of getting really close up, maybe for, I don't know, whenever. But I think people should see that at some point.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
like
So just
that.
throwing things out here, you know.
Yeah, I like it.
Last Thursday, we can brainstorm here and stuff, right? That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
this is-
allowed. It's all permitted.
This is our casual stream.
It is. Yeah, totally. So we got some more comments here. Okay, cool. So she stocked up, so she's good for
Oh, good. That's
a couple of weeks.
Good.
And then do you make fire cider, which is interesting because that was just recently your last main product, right?
Yeah, it was.
Your full moon offering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do, and I have 2 bottles of it left. And it's a horseradish fire cider. So if you like horseradish, you'll really like it because the horseradish really comes through. But I also put rosemary and spruce and serrano peppers, garlic, ginger, and red onion. With raw apple cider vinegar, and then there's raw honey in there as well. And yeah, it's really wonderful. I love it. I drink it straight. It sounds kind of crazy. I'll just put it over ice and I just drink like a tiny bit, you know, I'll maybe have like an ounce, but I'll put it over ice and I could just sip it. It's really, really sweet. And then I've used it to make coleslaw. I've used it to make salad dressings.
I was going to say the culinary aspect of it's really cool too.
Yeah, you can take it on its own or you can add it to hot water, but yeah, mixing it with culinary stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Or if you eat fish, it would be really good on fish.
Right.
I think there's a lot of things you can do with it. Anything that you would use vinegar in, basically, in a savory way. And if you like horseradish, that's the thing. But yes, I do have some.
Nice. And then, hey there, the Real Spoons.
Oh, hey.
She's
Yes.
saying that CBD whip is amazing.
Carissa, how are you? Yeah, I remember you loving it, and you got some really good results with it too. So
Nice.
yeah, very nice. Thank
Hell
y'all.
Yeah, for sure. And then also too, we will kind of, I think, perhaps announce it maybe like periodically or whatever throughout the episode. But we just started a Telegram for last Thursday. One of the things that happened last week was Gabe was really excited about a weave that we were getting into.
No, Gabe was excited.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, I love the face that Gabe makes when he's like really into something and like the gears are turning or whatever. It's one of life's greatest little joys there. But anyway, so he wanted to chime in on something, and we said that we would either open up the platform and he could join us, or maybe that we would start something so people can leave voicemails, essentially.
Yeah.
So we have a Telegram. It's in the chat, or sorry, the description of the video.
Yep.
And so actually, I should probably just put it in the chat,
just put it up in the chat. But yeah, you can get it. The link is in the description. And yeah, feel free and put messages in there, put voicemails in there, and then we'll be able to play them back for everybody. If you guys have anything burning that you want to share with us, or if you want to contribute to something we're talking about, if you have tips or questions or whatever it might be, photos, go ahead and put it in the Telegram.
Whoa.
That's a big link.
I know. Yeah, because YouTube always wants to redirect you.
Oh.
They want to make sure it's a safe link.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, we'll get the link up, and feel free and drop some messages in there if you guys would like to.
So there it is. I just put it in the chat. So yeah, if you guys want to leave a voicemail, I guess maybe if anything, we're new to all this stuff, guys. So if you guys want to keep it maybe 1-2 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, that might be difficult depending on what you guys want to talk about. But if there's something you guys are like really burning to talk about and you're like, oh my God, I really wish I was with them. I'm still open to it this episode. If maybe somebody wanted to join and
Yeah,
say
if someone
hey or
wants
whatever.
to pop in, we can totally do that because then we can send you the StreamYard link or whatever.
Yes, this is a casual sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Hey there. Thank you for joining us. So I should be at OWF. I'm sure that's a show or something. I love the Gordy episode. I wish I could have caught it live. Hi, you too. Nice. Hello. Yeah, that was. You guys had a really good conversation.
Yeah, it was seriously a great conversation. I love Gordy, and I knew that we would be able to just, weave and bob and do the whole thing together really well. And it was honestly, I have to say, it's been one of my favorite chats so far, and I think that I'm just really finding my sea legs with hosting. And so I just felt like things flowed really well, and I'm allowing myself to flow more instead of like feeling very attached to notes that I've written for myself. I talked about that in the stream. I love having the notes and everything, but it was really nice to kind of just like allow it to go. And then if I got to some of the notes, cool. And if I didn't, then I didn't. And
right.
We had plenty to talk about, and I feel like we could have gone longer actually because there was just so much to talk about. So
I'm sure he'll be back.
He will, and it was really, really sweet because he really opened up about his personal story and all the trials and tribulations he's gone through, and how the owls really pulled him through it. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So yeah, if you haven't caught it, you can just check it out. Episode 18 of The Healing Home.
Right. Totally. Cool. So yes, Gabe's the best witness. I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then Flat Earth Hippie says, Gabe is a joy, period. Yeah, I agree with that too. He truly is. He's awesome. So I'm sure, like I said last time too, there are a number of people that we know. There's a number of people in this chat already that we would love to have on at some point, and we can just get into stuff. So that'll happen.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just give Gabe love and see if he shows up. If
He's here.
Is he here already? Really? Uh-huh. Okay, cool. We manifested you, Gabe. Gabe's enthusiastic nature is beautiful and contagious.
It is.
What's up, LC King? Nice to see you, dude.
Lucas.
Okay, so you're talking about Old World Florida. Yeah, totally.
Oh.
I regret. So there was a scheduling conflict. I was supposed to talk to Longo, Dr. Longo, and on Juan's show about astrology at some point, and things didn't work out. And it was kind of like a double booking sort of issue on my end, actually. And so I wasn't able to make it. We ended up doing something else. And you guys know how schedules work. So I never got a chance to connect with him, but I totally want to connect with him at some point. And I don't know, just chop it up and see what's good. So yeah, there you are. Slick Dissident, number one witness for sure.
Howdy, Gabe.
Okay, nice. She was saying, I was introduced to Gordy from Juan on Juan's interview, but with you two, it just felt more raw, and he really touched my heart.
Aw,
that's really
nice.
cool. Yeah.
That's what I'm going for. That's totally what I'm going for, because that's what I love about meeting people. I love hearing their stories. I really just love to get to know people on deeper levels than just all the crazy information that we all, love to talk about. Because we all have a story, right? And we all have experiences and profound things that are meaningful. And so I just really love that.
That's actually kind of interesting. I mean, it just, it is what it is, but we've noticed that there's a lot of people in, I guess you could just say, alternative spaces, kind of truth or community sort of stuff, where it's like a lot of people just want to get straight to the gravy, or they want to get straight to just the information or the facts or that video or that article or whatever, the latest happening or something. But we've kind of noticed that what tends to fall by the wayside is actually like actual like storytelling, or like sharing your own story, or like getting to know people and getting to know their story and everything else. And so I think that you're kind of developing a show where like you tend to lean into that a bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really cool. And I think that there's value in that, basically.
Yeah, thanks. I think so too. And I feel like I have to do it because it's like who I am. And if I tried to do anything else,
true.
It wouldn't really go very well.
Right. Totally. And I don't blame people for just wanting to get to the point with information and stuff.
No, me either. I get it. I totally get it.
But there's even, there's people, sorry to cut you off, but
okay.
there's even people in real life where It's like we've talked to them for hours and hours and hours over the years, but we know relatively little about them because we tend to just get right to the information with stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can just tell that they're maybe not as comfortable sharing about themselves or even asking you about yourself, or they're not interested or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Right? So
yeah.
the fact that you kind of have a safe space that way, and it's naturally what you're all about, is kind of cool.
Yeah, I think so. Totally.
But I have to say that, guys. I have to say it's kind of cool. Just kidding. Hey, Sarah. Nice to see you again.
What's up, Sarah?
Yes, indeed. We summoned Gabe. That's high magic right there, as far as I'm concerned. If you can summon Gabe, that's pretty good. Okay. Whoop. Cozy Crone, how's it going? She likes it raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw.
Understood. Hey, Gordy, we were just talking about you, man.
What's up, Gordy?
Yeah, and your guys' interview and how you guys touched some people.
Yeah, man. It was a great talk. I really loved it.
Totally. And I was going to say, too, leading up to that interview, when I would go outside at night, I was hearing the owls. And so I was thinking about you guys in the upcoming interview. And I thought that was kind of cool because we don't always hear them at night.
No, actually, it's kind of rare. I've only heard them once. Here.
Okay.
And I was like, it sounded like it was right outside of our bedroom window.
Right.
One night last winter.
Right.
And that was like one of the only times that I had really heard them. Maybe one other time.
They're kind of around right now.
But they, yeah.
Right. Oh, see, there it is, dude.
Yeah.
Gordy, you touched my heart. He's a sweet boy. Yeah, right. I love the stories, for sure. Hey, Chris, what's going on, man? Happy Thursday. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Howdy, Chris.
Hey, Daphne. She's saying, I'm ready for my healing.
Oh,
that's nice.
Right on. Here we are.
Yeah. Chris just asked me if I would be down to talk Lovecraft.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, on his show.
That's a good one.
And how it's influenced a lot of directors in Hollywood and things like that. It is a good one, dude. So thank you for prompting that. I think that's interesting. And I feel like there's a few loose ends that I never got around to with Lovecraft that I think I can on the show with you. And his influence is so huge that a lot of people kind of I wouldn't say undervalue his influence, but it's kind of surprising actually. Like modern cinema would not be the same without his work and kind of what he put out there and stuff. So I think that's a solid idea for conversation, man. So I'm looking forward to that whenever that happens.
Yeah, it really is. It's good.
LC King says, I never like talking about myself in interviews. I figure no one wants to hear that shit.
Oh, whatever.
Dude, we are... So this is what I'll say about this. Guys, the world of archetypes, the world of symbolism, and the world of narrative, the world and all of its creations, it was a story first. These were ideas first. You know, the dream world, all this type of stuff, like all of these things that we have, like in physical 3D reality, they started off as ideas. You know, so as like a symbologist guy, I feel like, and as a former film student and stuff,
yeah,
I always generally champion narrative and storytelling and things like that. And so our individual stories are fucking cosmic. They truly are. They're epic, they're cosmic, they're divine, you know, and in many ways they kind of mirror and parallel the story of the cosmos itself. As an example, I think what's going on in childbirth, like that is an expression of the birthing of the cosmos, you know. So there's many overlapping things with what's happening on a cosmic level and what's happening to us on like an individual level, I would say. So I would just say that we can't underestimate the value and power of people's stories and of storytelling and everything else.
I agree.
You know, and so just wanted to say that real quick because I totally get it. I get why people want to listen to a show and they just want to get into it, you know, but I think there's room for us to understand each other's stories because I think it's important, you know, for so many different reasons. And I would say more importantly, understanding your own story. That understanding your own story is so empowering And you can see that whatever you want to call them, the powers that be or shouldn't be or never were or whatever, but there's like a concerted effort so that we don't understand who we are and where we come from and stuff, because it's way too empowering.
Yeah.
And so understanding your story is huge, and then obviously being able to share that and express that with people, I think is just a beautiful thing if you have the time and all of that. And so anyways, just my quick 2 cents about that.
No, those are all good points. I like the powers that shouldn't be. That's a good one.
Yeah, you like that
You
one?
should keep that one.
I definitely was not the first person to say that.
I'm sure not,
Yeah.
you know, it's still nice.
See, Gordy's saying not true, Lucas. And I agree with Gordy. Yeah.
And we got a pish posh from the Cozy Crone, so yes, same sentiment.
Hell yeah, Chris. Awesome, man. Yeah, that'll be a good time. Ooh, so Brianna's saying, yesterday owls followed me after listening to Gordy's interview the night before. That's pretty rad.
That's really cool.
Dude, yeah, exactly, Gordy. The myths are about us, precisely, right? So we are an active participant in this whole thing. One thing I've been reminded of multiple times lately is just like, I will, in my presentation, sometimes I will refer to like something happening in the distant past. God separating the above and the below, separating the elements and everything else. And I have a good friend, shout out Carolyn. She always reminds me of this, and she'll leave me voicemails after I do a presentation and tell me her 2 cents about everything. And it's beautiful. It's cool because she has a very specific perspective that I do appreciate, but she always is like, these events that you're talking about, they're happening right now. You know,
Yeah.
so it's almost like it's the eternal now, essentially, you know. So yes, exactly. So that is to say, like, these gods from yesteryear, they're still with us. In fact, you are a living example of some of these deities, you know. So Isis isn't just a goddess from way back when. Isis is like your mother. You know, Michelle is Isis. Michelle is Virgo. Michelle is all of these things. And so it's just like, we are living these myths. Like,
It's
truly.
true. Yeah.
You know, so it's not so much, yes, there's a correspondence with ancient deities and things like that, but we are very much a part of this whole entire thing, 100%. So let's see here. Yeah, well, she has Mario holding a mic now. Yeah, so we kind of came to this conclusion together, actually, because of this show. Is that we just it's really funny. I'm just gonna say it, but we've been watching a lot of comedy lately, and so I go through my waves with comedy and appreciating just what's out there, and then not appreciating it and not caring at all. So I went for a long time without looking at any stand-up specials or shows, podcasts, or whatever. And over the last, I don't know, handful of months or whatever.
More than a handful or
whatever.
Whatever. Yeah. It's been a little while.
So over the last handful of months, though, we started watching more comedy. And one of the things is that they always hold a microphone, obviously. I mean, you can have it in the stand or whatever. And then a little light bulb went off, and I'm like, oh, well, we could just do that. And it actually looks like it's more comfortable. And we've both just kind of gravitated towards that now.
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes sense. And I actually I prefer it now.
I do too, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel more, it feels more freeing to me. So I like it.
Right. Totally. So anyway, so there's that.
Yeah. Sweet.
Nice. So, okay. I'm going to check out the chat a little bit longer, then we can get into some other stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. Right on, man. Yeah. It's really, it's important stuff. And I tend to be way more, in person at least, really personable. I always like to just learn about people. I always have listened to what they've been through and all of that.
He's a great listener. One of the best I've ever met. That's for sure.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah. I see Cozy Crone is asking about the astrological correspondence of tobacco.
Ooh, is there a card for that one by chance?
No, but Saturn is what I've found because it's a nightshade. Kind of all the nightshades are classified under Saturn, but specifically, and that's funny because I was going to bring up tobacco as well, because I just got some seeds in the mail, and I literally just opened the packet like maybe 15 minutes before the show. And one of the seed packs I bought is tobacco. But yeah, Saturn, I think you can confidently say Saturn, but there could be other ones too, actually. Just Saturn and the connection to tobacco with the nightshades, but tobacco having like this, I look at it like a journeying plant. And
I mean, other people have too.
yeah, it's a journeying plant. It's like it can take you into different realms, and I think it's a really good way to kind of like have a dark night of the soul sort of that connotation. I think that's the reason why it might get classified under Saturn as well.
Like a inner
journey.
Basically,
yeah, I should say inner journey. But also opening up channels to be able to communicate with the other side. Relatives, and depending on the type of tobacco, some of them have like really long trumpet flowers, white trumpet flowers, and it also has like almost like a vacuum kind of suction sort of energy, a pulling energy, like it could pull you into a different realm or like pull you into its beauty kind of thing. And then a lot of times too, tobacco can be used in pulling salves, actually. Like it actually does have more of a medicinal quality like that. And then obviously it can be smoked and, but used as, sometimes people will even leave, little gifts of tobacco after they've harvested a plant. You leave like an offering of tobacco. That's a tradition.
Well, even on our local mountain, people leave bags of tobacco.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Little pouches, and they'll tie it to trees and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
As little offerings.
Yeah. Sounds like Saturn wants to kind of come out and play a little bit this evening because there's a few Saturnian thoughts that we have that we wanted to talk about, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hank is saying they say tobacco takes our prayers to heaven, whatever that is. Yeah.
Yep.
Precisely.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. And the smoke is so symbolic of that as well.
Yeah, totally. Gabe says, Mythster and Mythstress Garza. Exactly. It just rolls off the tongue like that, dude.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, people kind of like this weave with listening and sharing and stuff. Hearing others can help you understand your story, and telling your story to a good listener and getting feedback helps to understand how the myths are us. Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. And I mean, some of the most healing work I've ever done is sharing my story and sharing it even in the most uncomfortable moments, or, sharing the things that aren't so pretty or what have you. It hurts in the moment, isn't fun in the moment, but as the time goes on and you are able to express those things, then you find it easier to continue to express things.
Right. Totally.
The more you hold in, the more harder it gets to talk about things.
Yeah, the more difficult. Yeah.
Yep. So just like anything, it's kind of like a muscle.
It's true. Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it. Since there's a few more people here than when I announced it, I just want to say again, and because Slick that you're here, and obviously no pressure. If something comes to mind, feel free, but it's all good if not. But we have a Telegram now, and you guys can leave voicemails. And so if there's something that we say that prompts a voicemail, go to the Telegram chat, leave a voicemail. It's in the description of this video, and then we can play it on air, and then we can just talk about it and review it and stuff.
Totally.
So it's our first time, so hopefully it works. My game plan is kind of just like a really simple sort of thing, but because our internet's so slow, I'm just going to use my phone and hotspot it and then play the voicemail from my phone.
I think that's a good idea.
Right, because we can't upload it through here.
Yeah.
Maybe we can figure that out at some point.
Let's see if I can open these seeds.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I want to show you guys.
So what's the company?
Okay, so the company is Strictly Medicinal Seeds.
I can hold it up.
If you can see. Okay. So they are out of Southern Oregon.
Let's see this way.
And I can't remember the name of the man who started this company. I know SB Elger knows about this company, and we've talked about it and how solid of a person this guy is. But basically, Southern Oregon, a lot of the seeds are like from their gardens. It's organic. You can get medicinal herb seeds from them. You can get vegetable seeds. You can actually also get rhizomes and plant. What's up, Loco? You can get plant starts from them as well. They'll ship like live plants. But and the costs or the prices are very affordable, but their seeds are just really high quality, and you just know that you're getting something good. And then what Mario was holding up is their seed catalog, so you can get a free seed catalog when you place an order, and it just goes through all of the more like minute details about each of the seeds and the plants that they offer. And so yeah, it's really cool. And so what we got from them was I got some basil. Oh, what's up, SB? Richo. Is it Richo? Okay, cool. Well, this guy is solid. Yep, and Sarah G knows too. So solid company through and through, just doing really good work. So we got basil. I got some Italian parsley from them, and then I did get tobacco. So I got Nicotina tobacco. So this is more of like the smoking tobacco.
I want to smoke our own tobacco.
Yeah, me too. That's why I got this, because the other tobacco that we have is a different type, and it is the one that has the white trumpet flowers.
Right.
And so this,
and I'm not a smoker, by the way. Not like it matters, but I'm not a smoker. But I think having your own tobacco, that would be very special. And
yeah,
nice.
Way special, because it's just like you can use it in special occasions.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I did get some more valerian. I had some valerian seeds that I tried to start last year, and they didn't really work very well, but I think it's because they were old. Mm-hmm. So I bought some new valerian seeds, and I also bought some new blue vervain seeds. So I'm going to do the verbena hastata this year. We have another type of blue vervain that we grow already, but this one, the verbena hastata, grows really tall and has beautiful purplish blue flowers, and it's really gorgeous. And I love that it gets really tall, because we're working on creating boundaries this year, a little bit more stronger boundaries in the garden in terms of even just like visibility and stuff. So trying to think of plants and things that we can do to add to the garden that will provide more of that for us. So
did the seeds that didn't work last year, were they from the green bucket?
No, they were from, I remember getting them at like a farmer's market or something like that.
Okay, gotcha.
At least 2 or 3 years ago. And so they kind of like, a couple of them took, but they just never really took off. So I'm not sure, but.
Gotcha. Just wondering. I bought a big bucket of seeds years and years and years ago because I thought the world was going to end. This was really early on in my like truth or conspiracy sort of rabbit hole days. And you guys probably know who this guy is, some of you at least. There's a guy named Michael Rupert, and he had a book called Crossing the Rubicon, and he had a documentary called Collapse. And I think it came out probably 2008 or 9 or something like that. And I watched it, and his whole thing was about peak oil and how oil was going to run out, and people, shit was going to hit the fan, and there was going to be a major devastating economic collapse. And I'm like, oh man, this guy, I wonder if this guy's right, whatever. But he got to me, and one of the things he said was buy organic seeds, because if something does happen disastrous, that you can actually, at least you can grow food and whatever. So I bought a big old bucket of seeds, and they've just been sitting around. And actually, we've used some of them. Oh yeah,
we've used them actually. I mean, and some of them will work, and then some of them don't. But majority of them have worked. Yeah, so I'm always still using them. So
yeah, totally. So anyways, the world did not end, it turns out. And then peak oil is bullshit. That's not real even. And then unfortunately he passed a handful of years ago, but we saw him live actually.
We did. I remember that was very early on in our relationship.
Right. Yeah. Right. So anyways, Michael Rupert, some of you guys might know who he is.
I think, well, they say he killed himself, if I remember right, but I don't know if that's exactly what happened or not, but that's what I remember.
Yeah, that's what I remember too. Yeah. Basically. Yeah, something along those lines. He had emotional issues and stuff, I think. Right. So Gordy said he tried smoking wild sage. It was lovely. That's cool.
Yeah, sage is great as a smoke.
Right. Cozy Crone wants to know, is that a hand stamped packet?
No, it's not, but they do hand stamp some of yes, so some of it like they hand stamped like the germination date, the date and then the germination rate and stuff. So yeah, they do some of them have stamps on them, but not all of them. But yeah, isn't that cool? They take their time.
I kind of like I like the branding actually.
I do too. It looks really nice.
Yeah.
So it's a great company, and I highly recommend them.
And then also she was saying, interesting. Casey says a little bit of smoking enhances psychic ability. I believe that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
For a few reasons. Let's see what else is going on here. Magnets help with seed sprouting. That's cool.
I've heard this because I'm looking into the electroculture right now. Yeah, I've been hearing that. So do you just place the magnets near the sprouts? Do you put it like near the tray, or how do you do that, Hank?
Yeah, I'd be kind of curious to know too.
Me too.
So Jenny's saying, discovering what's available for seed in the U.S. has been fun. I'm enjoying so many options here. That's cool.
Nice.
Like to hear that.
Yeah, it's been fun. Now I feel like now I have all the seeds that I'm going to want and need.
There you go.
For the season, which is nice.
Hank says positive side up under pot.
Okay, cool. We can try that.
Yeah,
I'm totally going to try it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I feel like this year there's going to be a lot of experimentation.
Yeah.
Lucas says, you bought seeds. I started a farm in prep for the financial collapse. Lol. That's really funny. Dude, I'm actually just curious. When did you start your farm?
Yeah, I'd love to know that.
Yeah, you guys can maybe talk about some of that stuff together.
Yeah.
Farming, or maybe all three of us at some point.
And I want to yeah. I don't know if I don't know why Lucas would know this, but I studied abroad in Australia for only like 6 months, but I totally fell in love with the country. I know that there's all sorts of funky like political stuff and whatever, but I was a young doe. I mean, I was only like 21, but gosh, I fell in love with the beauty there.
You should tell them where you were at and stuff.
Well, I lived on the Gold Coast in Surfer's Paradise. I know it sounds cliche or whatever, but that's where I was.
It sounds nice, actually.
Yeah, it was something special.
Gold
man.
Coast, I love that.
Yeah, well, that's like the region.
The area.
Yeah, the area. So I wasn't far from Brisbane. Like I could take the train to downtown Brisbane, and I think if I remember right, it was maybe like a 2-hour train ride, or maybe less, an hour or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time, and I fell in love with the area, specifically like Byron Bay, and I went to Cairns, and the water was just glorious, and the beaches and the weather. So
right.
Yeah. Hope to go back someday.
You tried to surf as well.
Guy. I did try to surf, and then
keyword is try.
Tried, and then I messed up my shoulder like permanently. So
yeah,
the ocean taught me some lessons that day. But yeah.
Right. Indeed, it did.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Gordy's gonna try that with the magnets. That's great.
Yeah, I am too, actually. And Hank, we still have some magnets from you and Mari, actually, when you guys left us a bunch.
I don't know all of these references, but I'm going to read this anyway. Lucas, we're all moving to Australia after Gigi and Putin blow up the U.S. with gay frog tornadoes.
Is that what L.A. just experienced, a gay frog tornado?
Yeah, right.
I was shocked to hear that there was a tornado near L.A.
Brianna says, pyramid energy also helps with seed sprouting, plants growing, and life force flourishing overall with healing / rebalancing. Yeah, totally. I used to have this book called Pyramid Power, and it was by this guy named Patrick Flanagan. And it was actually kind of interesting because I got this book from our buddy, Bud.
Yep. I've thought about that book recently and wish we still had it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but that's okay.
I wonder if it's readily available.
Yeah, we might be able to get it again.
And then I can't remember the series of events, honestly, but at some point I learned that guy was like working with the CIA.
Oh, I remember that.
And that he was literally working with dolphins, and that he was like a prodigy kid, this Patrick Flanagan guy, Pyramid Power, the author of that. And I remember he told a wild story too about he basically got a contract with the CIA to develop a tool that would allow for dolphin human communication, and that it would literally translate. My understanding is that it would translate either. There was only so many words that they could do it with, keywords, but that it would translate English into dolphin and then vice versa.
Wow.
Dolphin into English.
Okay.
And I can't remember how many words they had developed, but he was talking about this. I'm like, wow, this is just the pyramid power guy. I'm like, this guy's like, I mean, super smart guy,
Right.
And so, anyway, and then I guess at some point he was saying that they literally had this like cove, this private cove aquarium thing or something in I believe it was Hawaii, and that he had a partner that he was doing all of this stuff with, and that it was his business partner. And he said he showed up one day and his partner was dead, face down in the water.
Whoa.
Yeah, so there was like there was something going on, obviously. That doesn't just happen.
Well,
and so that was the end of that project for him.
Yeah, well, when you're working with the CIA, it's like anything can happen, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly right.
Wow. Yeah.
So I know a few of you guys, I'm going to use this opportunity because there's people in the chat and there's people who are like digging into all sorts of stuff. There's like a few things going on right now with like Illuminati stuff with like dolphins. And I've seen that be like the topic of more than one episode on different channels. What's that all about? Can anyone summarize that for me just like real quick? I think what I want to do is just like ask people if I see something out there like a meme or like a trend or some storyline or something, just ask the people and see what they have to say about it.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of having to dig into it. So if anybody out there knows what's up with that, please let me know.
Yeah.
Because I know it's definitely a thing right now. Where I'm at personally with everything, what I tend to absorb information wise is generally in books these days.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I don't really listen to too many shows or go out of my way to watch too much of anything. I'll be back at some point, I feel like I just go through phases or whatever. But right now I'm definitely more so focused on what I'm doing. But that one kind of had me a little curious.
Yeah. Interesting.
Sweet, dude. All right. So, Gabe, you're staying at Lucas's house.
On a spare couch.
How many spare couches do you have, dude? And what's for dinner?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's an old school book. I found that book in my father-in-law's books. Yeah, dude, that's right. Your father-in-law had all these books, or had a lot of interesting kind of occult esoteric books. That's who we got the book from, was from like an old school conspiracy theorist sort of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we have some good books, and we used to have way more. We've really slimmed down our collection, actually.
Yeah, we have.
It used to be much, much bigger.
And it felt good to slim it down. Sometimes you just have to let go of things.
Yeah, we used to have multiple Robert and Anton Wilson books, and actually, to be honest, I never got around to them. And so we had the Illuminatus trilogy and stuff like that, but it never spoke to me to actually want to dive in and read them for whatever reason. Maybe at some point I'll do that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we ended up selling a lot of our books to our friend who owned a shop in Portland at the time. And she was actually able to she's a great person to sell them to because she has a love for books. She has a network of people who are interested in a lot of the same information. So we knew that giving or selling those books to her, that it was like she was the right person to get them. And we knew she would,
oh yeah, she's perfect for
find good homes for them and stuff. So it was good.
So Daphne says Discordian dolphins in the year 23. I don't know if this is a reference to like Discordianism or not or whatnot, but our buddy who gave us a ton of books, that's like that was his jam. Was
oh yeah.
What are they called? I can't remember now.
Now I'm spacing it too.
I know it's like Bob.
Church of the Subgenius.
Yeah. So he was like a Church of the Subgenius guy, and so he introduced us to a lot of interesting things, including the Discordian stuff.
Yeah. Really cool. Books are awesome.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Nice. So the whole boundary thing has kind of been coming up for us lately because we are in the process of rebuilding our garden fence, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so we just got the green light to do it today, too. And we're going to use natural materials. And it's going to be basically, there's two different types of fencing that we've been looking at. And there's probably multiple names and even folk names, I think, for some of this stuff. but one is dead hedge fencing.
Yep.
And then brush fencing.
Yep.
And you don't need any hardware. All you need is just twigs. And so it's like a
And
very
posts. Wooden posts.
Yeah, sorry. All you really
But,
need is
from
just
the
sticks,
forest.
basically.
Yeah. You're just needing the sticks and stuff from around the area.
Yeah. So it's very simple, but I'm really excited for it actually.
Oh, I am too. I've been like looking into it more, and I can picture it. We were outside yesterday taking measurements and seeing where we want to put the posts. And I mean, we already have a garden fence up. But we're just going to basically extend it. And then right now it's just like, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it has kept out what we need to keep out.
Yeah.
So, but now just, stepping it up a notch and making it a little more rustic and just more, I don't know, it just feels more natural. And it's basically vertical composting is what it comes down to, because you can literally so you're taking like old logs, old brush and sticks from the property. Let's say you harvest or maybe you cut down a bunch of brambles. You can literally just put the brambles in between the slots of the fence, and over time it starts to compost depending on what you put in there. But you can literally grow plants like within the fence.
And you were saying some people have like birds' nests and stuff.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Yeah. So it's really cool. And one of the things about it too, because it sort of it can start to break down depending on what you're putting in there, but you literally just add to it. You just continue to add to it. So, depending on how tall you make your posts, you could start off with 6 to 7 foot posts, and then you could fill it up to maybe, 5 feet, and then know that you'll be able to continue to add through it throughout the whole season. So anytime you cut back something or whatever, you can just put it in the fence.
And because it's so moist over here,
yeah.
moss and who knows what's going to grow on it. I mean, things just thrive out here. So
yeah.
I could see there being all sorts of things. I mean, that's what's really exciting, to see what it's going to look like in 2 or 3 years or something.
Yeah. And that's the research I've been doing is people are saying, once the first year it's going to look fine or whatever, but as the years go on and you keep tending to it and keep adding, that's when it gets really, really nice and awesome. And
right.
It's pretty cool. I mean, you can look it up on YouTube, and there's videos of people making it and stuff.
So 8 Interlander says, me and the missus did a sweet fence with branches.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
I know. It's so funny. To me, it just reminds me of one of these things where it's like, there are so many simple solutions.
Yeah.
And yet we've been programmed, at least I have, and where I come from and everything else, that if you're going to do anything, you have to go to Home Depot, or you have to go to Lowe's, or you have to do this thing, and you have to get hardware and all this other stuff. It's like, we live basically right on the border of serious woods.
Yeah.
So it's just there's so much available to us that way, that it's just I started collecting the sticks and stuff like that for it. So it's going to be a bit of work for sure, but it's going to be cool. And then the thing I was thinking about with it is how there's a Saturnian thing going on with any partition.
Yes.
And so Saturn rules boundaries and partitions and walls and things like that. So if you like having a roof over your head, you kind of have Saturn to thank for that, honestly. If you like being away from the elements, and not being rained on or snowed on or whatever, it's the lesson, the Saturnian principle of boundaries and stuff is what allows us to even have these things. And so I would say by extension that the boundary of the cosmos is also a Saturnian boundary.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And so the shell of an egg, that's a Saturnian thing. And so anything that keeps something in or keeps something out, heavy Saturn vibes to the max. And as you were saying, there's a few things going on with us personally where we've had to basically be a little more clear with our boundaries. And it's just really interesting that while we have to be clear with our boundaries with other people, we are also in the process of building a fence, which is all about boundaries.
Right.
So there's just a beautiful thing kind of going on there. It's a beautiful weave. And then also related to that too, I think it's interesting that we are also, we just transitioned into spring, and that threshold between winter and spring, that's a boundary.
Yes, it is.
So the beginning and end of cycles and stuff, very Saturnian. And so just all the way through, Saturn is present with boundaries and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's kind of, I just think that's all kind of curious, and it's just this I don't know, it's just this intriguing weave, and it just makes sense that it's all happening right now.
Yeah, it does. And I'm very looking forward to it, really. Because, I mean, I just love the fact that it's going to be with natural materials from the area.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's going to be super cool.
No, I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'll be putting updates and stuff while we're working on it. That's one of the things I want to do is like do a before and after of the whole process and then share it online. Because I think that would be super fun. Just to even for us to kind of document it too.
Right. And then we're not going to be doing this for this project, but you're really into the wattle idea.
Oh yeah, a wattle fence. Yeah, which is basically you're like weaving the sticks. So you don't necessarily do like a straight line of sticks. You're doing like staggered, sticks, and then you want to use bendable wood. So like alder wood, willow is a really famous one that people do. But you want when you make a wattle fence, you want the wood to be a little more fresh. So it's like if you had a lot of maybe alder trees or bushes that you were going to be cutting down, that would be a good one to do because then you're going to have all that material.
Right.
Yeah. But the wattle fence, I want to do some like shorter wattle fences around some of the other just like garden beds that we have throughout the property.
Right.
And I think that'll be really fun.
Right.
Because our neighbor has a dog and he comes over and he pees and stuff like that. So one of the boundary things is just so he doesn't come and pee on random stuff anymore. Plants specifically. Obviously dogs are going to pee, but preferably don't want him peeing on like our cannabis plants and other plants because he did take out a few of my like sage bushes last year and stuff just by being a dog. He doesn't know, but he's just trying to mark territory. So we're trying to mitigate that as well.
Right.
So kind of taking more control on that end.
Dog pee, that sounds like a strain or something that you would find in a dispensary.
It probably is.
What do you think?
Yeah, it probably is. That's not the strain I'd be picking.
Yeah.
Maybe cat pee.
I was just going to say, what about cat pee? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I would be down to watch a Subgenius doc. Maybe you can send that to me, man.
Yeah, I would too, actually. Because with Bud, like we met one of the guys that he was associated with through that, and Walter Alter was his name.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a strange feeling that I got from that guy.
Right.
Kind of like it was almost like he didn't want us to be around Bud.
Well, he was part of other groups too.
While they were having conversations and things like that. Yeah. So it was just an interesting vibe.
Right. Totally. No, it's true. Exactly. You would never look at a 77-year-old man and think that he's part of any occult groups or any like lodge systems or anything like that. I guess you could think that maybe he would be a Freemason or whatever. But like, dude, people were like wiling out and doing crazy stuff like back in the day.
Oh yeah.
60s, 50s, 40s and stuff like that. There's a whole history there, and Bud was a part of it.
Yeah, Bud had his hands in all sorts of stuff.
Because we're just like, after a while, we just learned that. I'm like, oh man, this guy he's kind of wild. Yeah. He's a wild dude, and he knows some wild people and knew some interesting characters and met some like very influential occultists, Well, he met, oh my gosh. Yeah, Aquino.
Well, Aquino, but Antelope, Oregon. The cult.
Oh, yeah, totally. Right.
The mustard seed guy. What was his name?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name now. The Bhagwan. Yeah, he was like a salesman for the pain management electrode things that came out in like the 80s where they would like stick the electrode things onto you and send electrical pulses through. And it was like a pain management thing. And Bud was selling those things and apparently got invited to do his pitch to the Bhagwan because the Bhagwan was interested in it.
Right.
And so he has a whole story about going out to Antelope and
the Rajneeshis.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting history too.
Yeah, that is.
So, I mean, this guy, he was kind of like almost like an occult esoteric mentor in certain ways, because I remember when we first came across all of that stuff, which now, if you guys haven't seen it, there's a great series called Wild Wild Country, and it gets into a lot of the drama with the Rajneeshis and all of that. And we came across some of that information, and we were like, "Hey, bud, are you aware of the Rajneeshis and the Bhagwan and that whole thing?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "I met the Bhagwan like like multiple times. I sold him some stuff and everything else." We're like, "Of course you did."
Yeah, he was that type of guy.
Right? They're still around too.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're still operating in India.
Really? Oh, that's right. They like moved their whole thing over.
And then I met a woman, I can't even remember where, but she was, I'm pretty sure when I was in India, actually, I met a woman who was a Rajneeshi back in the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're still out there. They're
Yeah,
still
yeah.
doing stuff. When there's money to be made,
Yeah, that's true. And people love a good cult. That's for sure. Someone to tell them what to do, and then they don't have to worry about much.
I was going to say, you love a good cult.
I love learning about good
join,
cults. I
but-
love learning about cults, but I'm not into the joining of the group. Yeah.
Sorry to hear this, Jake. He says, spring has pollinated the air with new energy, and now there is a boundary blocking the airways in my nasal passages.
Oh,
Please send
bummer.
tissues and herbal remedies. Yeah, that sucks, dude.
Working with the pressure points on your face can be really effective for moving congestion. You can look it up online, but a lot of it's like lymph nodes or whatever. But there's little sections in your face, like you can feel little divots in your bones, specifically kind of in between your eyes, right from where your eyebrow, like the edge of your eyebrow, that's
Yeah.
closest to your nose, the bridge of your nose or whatever. You can kind of feel the little pits inside of the bone, and when you feel that, that's where you want to press.
Right.
But you want to do it like on both sides, and yeah, there's all sorts of techniques.
Do you want me to hold your mic for a sec? Or are you good?
Yeah. So if I remember right, so it's something kind of like, I look, if you could see this,
Yeah.
something like this, like under your cheekbone, and then the point right here where your eyebrows start. You'll feel those divots, and you kind of just press for, I don't know, maybe like 30 seconds, and then come off of it, and then do it again. And then there's other points throughout your face, and it.
You're not talking to the mic.
Oh yeah, I wasn't talking to the mic.
I forgot about that too.
So there's.
I don't know if you guys heard that actually.
I
That's
don't know
really
if
funny.
you even heard it.
I heard it loud and clear. It was good advice.
Anyway, just the points along your face. Look it up online if you're not sure, but it really relieves the sinus pressure, and you will feel it draining. It's really effective.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on. Good pro tip. Hey, Joe.
What's up, Joe?
Yep, waddle. Exactly. That's what I thought of too. Let's see what's going on here. That's right, for sure. Let's see here. Shitty kitty zomboid kush.
I'll take an ounce.
Of zomboid kush. We should just call dispensaries and see if they have shitty kitty or zomboid kush.
Nice.
Yeah, if you're talking about Bud, unfortunately he passed a handful of years ago, but I do have a lot of photos with him. And so yeah, you guys can see what he looks like. Actually, that'd be kind of interesting. The first time I went on Weaving Spiders, Sean, if you're still here, that was so cool, man. But the first time I went on Weaving Spiders, Sean brought him up.
Oh, that's right, because Sean saw his hats.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think he even pulled up the photos because he saw them in person and then showed me the hats and stuff. That was really cool, man.
Yeah, I kind of wish I would have we would have recorded stuff with Bud or whatever, but I mean,
Butteroo, yeah.
Butteroo. I mean, I say hi to him almost every single day because he's around. I feel his energy a lot, and yeah, I've said that before, but he's like a grandpa energy to me. So I miss him almost every day. I do. I think about him all the time. So he was a good one.
No, he totally was. So
Yeah.
Daphne, yeah, that's the right idea. We did not do that. We worked on a few projects together. So like I said, I have photography of his art and of him. We did one photo shoot together. That was kind of cool. And we haven't even got into it, but this guy, might as well just talk about it for a bit. But this guy was such a character that he literally would, puff paint, right? He would just get hats from a thrift store and he would puff paint the hat and then he would glue little characters on it and he would cut things out. He would ask me to print things out for him so he could cut out to put on his hat. He would do the same thing with his jacket. And guys, his hats and his jackets were all conspiracy themed. So literally talking about 9/11 and all sorts of stuff. You know, the heroin import business via, using the bodies of cadavers of soldiers. That's called the cadaver connection, if you guys have never looked into that. But he was hip to a lot of things. So he would walk around and like people would just like look at him and they're like, what the hell is, like, he looked like a crazy street guy.
He did. He kind of did. Yeah.
He looked like a crazy street guy, but once you started talking to him, you're like, whoa, okay. Most people couldn't keep up with what he was saying.
Yeah.
Because he just had such a unique brain where he would just start rattling off conspiracies, whether you wanted to hear them or not. And so one of the things that he would do to trick people into like bringing him into the conversation, he would be wearing these crazy hats, and they're like, they look completely nuts. I really should show them at some point. But he would wear these hats, and some kid would, or some person would be like, oh my gosh, like what's going on with your hat? Or they would say something about the hat or just look at it. And he goes, and he would say, oh, well, what would he say? Like something like, what's on my mind?
Yeah.
And then he would take off the hat.
Let me tell you what's on my mind.
Yeah, let me tell you what's on my mind. And then he would take off the hat, and then he would show them the interior of the hat, of the cap. And he has all of these conspiracy sort of like images and stuff inside the actual hat.
Right.
So there was like external artwork and then internal artwork
and
as
it
well.
was really well done, actually. Like, you think of puff paint and you might think it's like whatever, but he did a really good job. And he was an artist. He was actually a silversmith for a long time. And his name was the Silver Sorcerer. That was his business. And so he had an eye for art, and he was talented with it. Once he started getting older, though, he did kind of start, you could tell he was kind of starting to forget things, and just kind of the classic thing that happens to a lot of old people, unfortunately. And then his hats started getting a little bit more, like he took some of the really simple hats he had, and then he would just like add a bunch of stuff to it. And then it was like, oh, whoa, now you can't really tell what's going on.
Yeah.
But when he was still with it and stuff, he was creating really nice hats.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he totally was. I remember the first hat that I saw of his when I first met him. And the way we even got to meet him was because he would go into Michelle's coffee shop all the time because it was his little neighborhood coffee shop.
Yeah, he lived just a couple blocks away.
So he could just walk there. And Michelle, very early on in your relationship with what was it called?
Olivier.
With Olivier, you just said, "Oh, you got to meet this guy."
Yeah,
this guy. You guys would hit it off, and sure enough, we did. But I remember the first hat I saw of his. He literally had a like a opium poppy bulb on the hat, but the bulb was actually a grenade, and the grenade was scored. So you can actually see the what is it? The sap.
Yeah, but the sap was blood.
Yeah, so the sap was both the opium sap, and then it was also the blood.
Yeah.
And it was a whole entire hat about the Vietnam War.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was that.
Was it Vietnam or another war?
The Vietnam was the cadaver connection.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That was my favorite hat of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite. And then I don't think we have it. I think it was another book we sold, but it was called Flowers in the Blood or Blood in the Flowers.
Oh, yeah, right.
And Bud had given us that, and it was all about the poppy trade and
right.
basically the killings and blood money that comes from all of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And the reason why I forgot too is because there's been multiple wars where like opium is like the main thing that they're actually after.
And I'm sure that's still the main thing. So, but yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
So Nomad is asking, Mario, do you know anything about the peace sign and its history / symbolism? Yeah, actually I do. I don't know if you've heard anything about this, but there's actually the first thing that comes to mind is that they say that Crowley gave Winston Churchill the idea for V for victory. And there's two different ways of doing this. You can either do it outright up front like this, or you can do it like this. And I think it's not uncommon to see Winston Churchill doing this. But the story goes is that Aleister Crowley, who was he really? I can't personally say. I don't really know. And while I love a lot of what he's put out, mostly his deck and the accompanying book, I'm not like a Crowleyite person personally. I'm willing to criticize him. I think there's probably been multiple Crowleys. I think that there's the photos between certain years with Crowley, they just look very off to me. I'm just like, is this another construct sort of thing? Because he was so infamous, he was the great beast and all that other stuff, that it just makes me wonder, it's like, was he a character essentially? But I started reading a book, and the book was called Secret Agent 666. And this guy was trying to make the case that Crowley was a secret agent, that he was a British intelligence operative, basically. And I read maybe like a third or maybe like halfway through the book, and I thought it was a lot of like speculation, and I thought that he was jumping to a lot of conclusions. He kept on the vibe that I kind of got from the book was, so is it possible that Crowley did this? Is it possible that Crowley did that? Some say he was here during this year. Does that mean he was affiliated with this or that or whatever? None of it was very concrete in my opinion. I'm like, why are you waiting for half the book to get to like some real facts about was he an agent or was he not an agent or whatever? And I don't know if I got this from that book or elsewhere, but the storyline is that Crowley told Churchill to use this as a V for victory sort of sign. And then eventually I believe it morphed into the peace sign. And you can kind of see how that can maybe even translate over. So my understanding is that the reason why people really do this now is because of him. And maybe it was an old hand gesture from way back when, and he just kind of revived it or something like that. So I'm willing to kind of believe that. But it's interesting because the Hierophant card, he's also doing this. And I think he's actually kind of doing it downward, though, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so this is also a symbol for V, as in Roman numeral 5, which is interesting because the 5th card of the Major Arcana is the Hierophant card. And so this is a very, very powerful gesture. And I've heard some people say, too, that the peace sign being the 2 fingers upright, that it actually should be 2 fingers connected. It's more of a unifying sort of symbol this way.
Yeah.
This, if there's any subversive stuff going on with the peace sign, it's actually implying that it's more so implying separation and division.
Yes.
And so one of the things that people don't realize, it took me a while to realize it, but the number 2 symbolically, I always used to think that number 2 means 2 things coming together, right? So a couple coming together, man and woman coming together. I also used to think of like the Gemini twins and stuff like that. And so I always thought of like 2 energies unifying. But when you actually look into the symbolism of the 2, a lot of it has to do with division. A lot of it has to do with separation. A lot of it has to do with conflict. And so there's some people who have said that the age of Gemini was when a lot of advanced, it's all relative, but when a lot of advanced weapons were developed. And that when warfare was kind of taken to the next level was during the age of Gemini, because there was so much conflict. And so when you look into Gemini symbolism, what are you going to get? You're going to see a lot of stories about one twin killing the other.
Oh, right.
So the number 2 or the peace sign, is it actually a unifying symbol, or is it actually more of a divisive symbol? Is it implying separation? Is it implying division? Is it implying polarity, or whatever you want to say?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting versus, say, the 1. The 1 is more of a holistic sort of symbol, I would say. So just a few random thoughts about that. I don't know if you've come across that, Nomad, but good question.
Well, and the other thing about this peace sign and then how it's drawn, the line and then the 2 branching outlines and then the circle around it, it's actually an inverted rune, which is the Algi's rune.
Yeah, so it's like a death symbol.
So like they basically inverted that rune, and then they use that as a symbol for peace. Right. But it's actually not. Right. That's not actually what the meaning is when it's inverted. Right. Because when it's upright, it's more about like life. I always think of life. It's kind of like a life rune. There's like a protection element to it as well. But yeah, when it's inverted though, it's different. Although I think runes, kind of like with tarot, and I know we have the same philosophy on it. I appreciate if a card is like reversed or a rune is reversed, but I always just read it as it is. It doesn't. I don't really put a
Yeah.
connotation on it. It's like you still pulled it whether it was reversed or not, or
That's generally how I am.
yeah. So anyway, but I really feel that way about the runes of like I don't know if there's really an inversion that's going on there
Right.
necessarily, but in the mainstream hippie movement, yeah, I think that's what was going on.
The other thing, actually, Nomad, you kind of hit on a vein because I was one of my rabbit holes, and I developed a presentation around it. Was literally the V, and one of the things was literally this sign. Was breaking down this sign. The Nazis used this sign as well, and they had a whole entire campaign, a V for Victory campaign, basically. And then, if I'm not mistaken, they even have a rocket that I believe
The V2 or something.
yeah, the V2 rocket. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so V symbolism is so deep, dude, but it fits in line with, I would say, the Hierophant card, and then which is the fifth card, Roman numeral V, Roman numeral 5, right? And then when you look at Taurus in the night sky, it's a gigantic V. And so I went down this whole rabbit hole about the V, and then the Vril Society and all these other things relating to the V. And so, yeah, interesting question. Hopefully that helps. And please, obviously, if you guys have other theories about where this came from, or if I'm mistaken with anything, just let me know.
We should check Telegram.
Yeah, let's see. Perhaps there's something there. Perhaps
Could be.
not.
You never know. No pressure. Just want to,
Oh, shit.
keep it.
Oh,
See,
dang.
I had a feeling.
Holy shit.
See, you put it out there.
Okay. There are telegrams, guys. Cool. Nice.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Maybe what should we do here? I'm all excited now. Should we check the chat, go through the chat, and then maybe do the telegram?
Sure. Is there a way to play the Telegram on the computer?
No, because
That won't transfer.
No.
Okay.
Not
All right.
at least not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Because of our slow ass internet, I think that going through the phone is probably the way to go. So
Okay.
let's clear the chat. Maybe not spend too much time on it, and then we'll get to telegram stuff.
Okay.
Right. Nice.
Oh, sweet. Good, Jake.
That's cool.
I'm glad. Yeah, it works very well. I always keep it in my back pocket for all sorts of stuff.
Hey, still standing. You're late, but it's cool. No big deal. We just start at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the dot every single Thursday. And you've known that for weeks now, but we'll let it slide. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Better late than never. Nice to see you.
Oh, okay. Jenny G is saying try allergies, no sneezy from Kyle. There you go. That could help.
Allergeezy. Nice. No sneezy.
Allergeezy.
There you go. Kyle's pretty good with his names, for sure. Okay, cool. SB saying work and just finishing up. A great talk. Love you guys with all my heart. Aw, thanks, man. Those hats are a trip. Make me want to copy Bud's technique. You totally should,
Yeah, dude, bring it back, SB. Oh
He
my
would love
God.
that, actually.
He would totally welcome you doing that. He would be with you in spirit for sure.
Totally. We could do a book about Bud.
Yep. Oh, that's a good title.
That's a really good title. That's cool.
Oh, man. It gets me all misty-eyed just thinking about it.
Yeah.
That guy, man. Oh, yeah.
Hat compliments from SB are the highest praise a hatter could receive. I agree. I never thought about that, but you're totally right. All right. Yes. Okay, so interesting. Nomad says it was banned from being used in Super Mario, but it used to be his go-to move. Yeah, exactly. I remember that actually.
Wait, the peace sign
No,
was?
yeah.
Oh.
Totally.
Huh. Weird.
Yeah, right. He was Barbara Bush's father. I know, man. The when you just look at the comparison, it's completely crazy.
Oh, Crowley?
Crowley, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Right. Is it the peace sign denoting a fracture or division?
Ooh, that's
I like
a good
that.
one, Jake. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's probably more of what they were going for.
Yep. Totally. Okay, so Slick said I just posted the Hierophant on last Thursday telly. Yeah, so where's his hand at? Let me see.
There it is.
Oh, yeah, it's totally
Yep.
facing down. Okay, but he's still doing it, and it's clear separation, too,
Right.
versus them being together. Very interesting. Nixon, yeah, totally. What's the thing with Jesus holding up the two fingers together? I mean, just off the top of my head, it's kind of like what I was saying that this being more of a unifying sort of thing, this being more of a separation, division sort of thing. I think perhaps I don't know. I mean, there might be actually like real insights with that I'm unaware of. Definitely possible. So let's see here. Yes, two is diversity, the many, for sure. It's the first division. That's the one way of looking at it. It's the first division, the first split, which kind of in a way allows all the other numbers to exist, basically.
Right. Oh, yeah.
What's up, Benjamin? Two individuals combined.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Nice.
Cool. Thanks everybody for being here and adding to the Telegram. I'm so excited that we started that. That's gonna be cool.
Same. Okay, cool. Let me hit the restroom real quick.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll get to the voicemails.
Oh, yeah. And then there's that question. So off-topic question. I'll come in here. Mario, you talked about a book on subliminal advertising. Do you know the name of the book?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
He does not remember off the top of his head, but yeah, we can look into it, and then maybe we can throw it up in the Telegram chat for everybody. Because yeah, it'd be fun then if we have the Telegram going, so people could we can all just constantly be posting in there, and then we could actually. Maybe we can all together like formulate shows sometimes, if there's like enough people that are posting certain things, or there's like something that more people are like, oh yeah, let's go with that. Maybe we could even like have it be something like that, a collective sort of, maybe every once in a while have some sort of collective idea show or something like that. That could be fun.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds cool. Okay, let me get my phone situated. And I think what we should do is we should do a test run. So we can play the first voicemail.
Okay.
And then see if it actually sounds clearer and it comes through. And then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because what we're going to do is literally play it on my phone out of the mic of the phone, the speaker, excuse me. And then we're going to put it to the mic. And then we're just going to see if that is suitable.
I think it'll work. I think it will totally work. But we'll find out real quick. And if it doesn't work, then we'll figure something else out. But I wonder if we could even like hotspot something and then play it on the laptop or play it through the Bluetooth speaker or something like that. So we'll just start with the first one.
Yeah, we'll start with the first one. And so this is a quick one from Gabe, Slick Dissident, here in the chat. So it's 16 seconds, so that's perfect to see if this is going to work or not.
Oh, yeah. Last Thursday Live. What's up, everybody?
Well, it was too fast, so 1 second. It was 2x speed.
I wonder if you should put it on speaker or something.
Well, I think that was the loudest it was getting, actually. The loudest it was going to get. Okay, never mind. Okay, we should be good to go now.
Okay.
But I'm going to start over.
All right. Bear with us here.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, this should be good. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Last Thursday Live. What's up, everybody? So excited.
Okay, actually, I'm an idiot because I put it on the wrong end, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Should it be up here?
No, because it should be down here. That's where you get the sound from. Did everybody?
But that's where you're going to hear it from, though. Is up here.
Did people hear that? Did people hear that or not? Let us know.
I just want to be the first one to say something. All right. Big love and much respect.
One more time, guys. Sorry.
So much fun. I really like this format. Oh, yeah. Last Thursday Live. What's up, everybody? So excited for this. I just wanted to jump on and say something. I just want to be the first one to say something. All right. Big love and much respect.
Nice, it worked.
This is so much fun. I really like this format. So I'm going to try not to bogart the mic and just blow you guys up all night. Tobacco. Man, I love this topic. And I totally agree on the, like it carrying you away, you know, it has a draw to it. I've always associated tobacco with Bacchus, not just because of the name, but, you know, Bacchus is like kind of a deity of excess and abundance, like having so much available that you could never consume it in a single, you know, in a single setting. So yeah, excess comes to mind. And on my project recently, here on the Enneagram, I've kind of pigeonholed Bacchus or Pan, Dionysus, with a number 3 on the Enneagram is an achiever with a shadow of deceit. But I also have I have a lot of associations through that project, and one of them is the flute player Euterpe. And Euterpe is she plays the flute, obviously. So she's in the grouping of wind instruments. And I just think that's kind of neat because you were talking about the horn on the flower of the plant, of the tobacco plant.
Yes.
But I definitely think about that carrying away, you know, Dionysian spirit is getting carried away with it, losing yourself in the abundance. But that is so beautifully ritualized in the fact that a cigarette is just a teeny tiny little thing in your hand. It's just a tiny little, you know, fetish in your fingers. But one draw and you can fill an entire house with the abundance, with the excess of the smoke and the celebration, and the spirit can just get carried away. And for that matter, it lingers for so long, you know.
Yes.
So I'm not a smoker. I definitely have had my phases in life, but I'm not a smoker. But one other correspondence is that, you know, it lingers for days. It can be like stuck on your clothes, on your fingers. It can be stuck on other people's clothes for days afterwards. And some people are so sensitive that, you know, just being around a smoker, it gets caught up in their clothes, and then they can't even wash it out sufficiently, that the smell just attaches. So yeah, just wanted to share all of those bacchanalian thoughts because, oh, and that's another thing. It has a contagiousness. You know, sometimes just seeing somebody smoke can trigger ex-smoker into you know, a conniption, a fit of desire. All right, rant done. Love you guys. This is fun. So stoked. All right, peace.
Love
Nice,
you too,
dude.
Gabe. Thank you.
Yeah, I love you, man. That was awesome. That was perfect. Really good points.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, so some of those things that's why it's awesome to have these voicemails and stuff. The fact that smoke really is, it's light, so it's able to ascend and dissipate or evaporate or whatever. But just like what he's saying, it can stay still.
Yes.
It's so fun to me when you're if people are smoking or it's a party or whatever. Sometimes, depending on the airflow and everything, but you walk in and there's just like a fucking line of smoke, just like haze, and it's just like still. It's just like there, you know? So yeah, he's saying that it lingers and everything else. That makes perfect sense. Yeah, lots of beautiful things
I like
that he mentioned there.
Yeah, the idea of it attaching to clothing.
Yeah.
And because I think of spirits. I think of like a spirit or like tobacco being its own spirit. And so it like that, the attachment that the smell does to your clothing or your skin or your hair or whatever, that actually kind of being symbolic of like a spiritual attachment, or how spirits will attach themselves to
Right.
certain items or certain places or whatever, you know. That's one of the things that came to mind.
I love what he mentioned too about the abundance of everything, and how it's just like it could be a small cigarette or a joint or a small incense burner or incense thing or something like that.
Yeah.
But yet the smoke can completely fill a space, reminding people of the abundance of things and everything else.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's really cool too.
That's a good one.
It definitely reminds me too. I mean, we use the word smoke in mirrors for like not ceremonial magic, but for stage magic and stuff like that. That's like a common thing that said smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors, you know?
Yeah.
And so smoke having this ability to kind of conceal and also therefore reveal. So that kind of links it, interestingly enough, to like veil symbolism, pretty much.
Yeah.
Concealing and revealing things. And so I think that's interesting as well. But dude, excellent thoughts all around, man. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
That's good.
All right, so let's see what's going on with Andrea over here.
Andrea.
Andrea.
Andy. Cozy.
Well, I have a cousin, Andrea. That's probably
true.
why.
Yeah.
My dream and why I was asking about tobacco and how it's funny that you are correlating it with Saturn. I'm just cracking up because it's so funny. But so in my dream, I was playing with fire and ice and like frozen cigarette butts. I was like I was using a torch to try and like set them on fire or light them through the ice. And like there was like this like closed captioning at the bottom of the screen that was like do Kelvins, do Kepler effect. And so I shared it in Abby's group, the Dream Coven, and she shared an article that was Johannes Kepler and the Kelvins or whatever, and it was all about planetary motion. And I'm just cracking up because, and
Also, Pete.
So I think she has another add on here.
somehow cut myself off. But he's also one of the people in astrology that goes with the years of perfection, right? I think I'm pronouncing that right. But so my perfection year is Saturn right now, and so I'm freaking laughing right now. It's so funny.
Nice.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Perfection year. I don't know anything about that.
I don't know that either, but
Right.
the fact that it's her Saturn though.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Saturn is someone you want to be aligned with personally.
I think so.
And so when it comes around, I think it's like, I don't know. I think it's like a gift, basically.
Yeah.
You know, gifts of Saturn, lessons and gifts of Saturn, cursings and blessings of Saturn sort of thing. So that's cool. There's so much going on with astrology too that I just have yet to learn. Oh my gosh. It's like amazing. I feel like I hear something like every week, a new term or something along those lines where I'm like, I've literally never heard that before.
Yeah, same here. But I know that all of these things play factors and roles in our lives. So
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
So thank you, Cozy Crone. So Gabe has a few more thoughts.
Okay.
Also, P.S. Crow had a guest on about a month or two ago who said that tobacco is wish fulfilling, that you actually gain spiritual currency when you accentuate your desires or your wishes with an offering of tobacco. All right. Now I'm
Nice. That's really cool. I love that. That makes perfect sense too, for a few reasons.
It does, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like there's herbalists out there that's their thing. Like they carry a pouch of tobacco with them when they go wildcrafting. So then they'll put it at they'll put it at the base of the plant,
right,
after they've harvested, as a little offering of saying thank you.
Right.
You can do that with anything you would want, really, but I know tobacco is is used like that.
Nice. That's really cool.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, so he has another follow-up thought here. A couple of follow-up thoughts. So let's see.
All right, on the Illuminati dolphins, James Valiant is an author who wrote a book called Constructing Christ, I believe is the book. He's got a great name. I love that name, Valiant. And it is about the Tacitus Flavian dynasty that took over Rome right around the year 70 after the burning of Rome, after Nero burns Rome, after the fall of the first temple in Judea. And this family is very powerfully correspondent with all of the mythology of the Christ child and the story of Jesus Christ. And so anytime I hear about dolphins or dolphins on family crests or insigniates or we're talking about Illuminati dolphins, I absolutely fall back on thinking about the work he's done, because that family literally put dolphins swimming around an anchor on their monetary system in acknowledgement of their dynasty. And so it's a real powerful weave, and it's pretty fascinating. But it means that the whole legacy of Jesus and the whole story of the New Testament, it has a foundational cornerstone in this Tacitus Flavian family. And there is a lot to it, but I'm just going to drop his name in his book. That's one book he wrote, and it's all about how Rome manufactured Jesus to pull the wind out of the sails of Jewish prophecy, as though to say, okay, you got your prophecy, now bow down. Shut up and bow down. And then they started a whole new breed of like neo-Christians or neo-Jewish consciousness that became Christianity in time. So there's so much more to it than that. But also the Merovingians, they claimed that their matriarch was inseminated by a sea monster. And so the Merovingian divine right to rule comes from interbreeding with oceanic creatures, as opposed to all of the Greco mythology of a sky daddy coming down and raping assorted royal family matriarchs. So yeah, if you're from Greece, you're claiming that somebody in your bloodline got raped by Zeus, so you should be the boss of everybody. But if you're from the Merovingians, who are more Franco-Germanic, then your mama got down with the sea monster. And so that actually has kind of a tie-in to this Jesus bloodline coming from the ocean rather than the sky. Also makes me think of the Johannites and their whole thing about wearing a fish suit or a fish hat, or the Pope's mitre crown, that tripartite crown that he wears is very fishy. So yeah, just thought I'd throw all that in the mix because there's so much more to it. But that's a quick boil down. My thumb's getting tired from holding the voice message button. I'm going to shut up. Big love, guys. James Valiant has another.
Okay, so he has another one there. But
Thank you, Gabe.
Dude, yeah, what do you say here? He says, this Gabe guy just gabs and gabs. Right. It's true. No, but I feel honored, dude, that you would want to just leave a voicemail for us. Seriously, because there is some top tier information in here. The thing that resonated the most with me was the Merovingian bloodline and the sea monster thing. That definitely hits for me on a few different levels. And one of the reasons being that I gave my esoteric Pisces presentation last week on Friday, and I get into fish god symbolism. And so the Merovingian thing, most of my exposure with that has to do with Tracy's work and some of the people that she kind of rolled with and was affiliated with. So my kind of like in with that information is through her lens and everything. And so just the things that this is conjuring up for me is kind of crazy, dude. But in my presentation, I show several fish deities from back in the day, Oannes and things like that. And
Whoops.
yeah. So so I showed some of these images, and there's a famous image from The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And I just love the artwork from that book. It's so great.
It is.
But there's a fish god, Oannes, I believe, and he's like saying hello. He's like coming out of the ocean and he's saying hi. And he looks like a half man, half fish. And then there's like very primitive tribal indigenous people on land, and they're like welcoming him. And they have like spears and stuff like that. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, man, I was like, is Cthulhu basically a modern expression of the old fish deity? Basically, because I think what we're dealing with is potentially the same sort of lineage of mythology, of a powerful being, a powerful god coming from the depths of the ocean. And I think one of the ideas that's always kind of brought up with these gods is that they aren't always seen, but they come back every so often. Mm-hmm. And with Cthulhu, the whole thing that Tracy would say with Cthulhu is that he was never dead, but he's dreaming. And so that they lie dormant in the depths of the ocean, and then they come out and emerge. This reminds me too of like Godzilla. And so Godzilla came out of the ocean. And so I think Godzilla and I think Cthulhu might just be modern renditions of basically what some of what we're talking about, basically.
Yeah.
And so because we were just in Pisces, because of the watery associations with Pisces, I've been thinking about the fish deity thing. And the fact that you just threw that out there is very, very intriguing. So thank you, dude.
Nice.
That's a really good one. That I would like to unpack that more at some point.
Yeah.
So
sweet.
Let's see what's going on here with the chat. So Alicia Evans says the CIA funded research with dolphins. The conclusion was they are psychic.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I was just talking about the dolphin research I was aware of with a guy named Patrick Flanagan. And maybe that interview is still out there somewhere. I'm not sure. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. I'm not surprised Mari knows about this. I put the annual Profections worksheet on Telegram. Cool.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yes. Thank you for the gab, Gabe.
Yes, as always.
You're
Gabe.
a treasure, man.
Yes.
We're lucky to have you.
Cthulhu just wants a hug, says Jenny G. Nice.
Where's that? Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's awesome.
Cthulhu just wants I know, right? Yeah. Exactly.
I like the idea of, him sleeping.
Dreaming, right?
Dreaming, sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That's implied.
Yeah, totally. That's interesting.
No, I think so too. Not dead, but dreaming.
Yeah.
And that this could be a metaphor for the cosmos potentially, or the if there was a supreme deity. Maybe he's not dead, but he's dreaming. Right. Because they like to say that God is dead now.
Right. Interesting.
Maybe he's not dead, guys. Okay. Would y'all have a dolphin-assisted birth or nah? Dude, I have not even looked into it. I know it's come up a few times in the chat, but I'm unaware of that. Personally, I think it's cool, but it almost seems like not unnecessary. Right. But I don't know. I would rather do a home birth.
Yes.
So unless a dolphin can come home with us, probably not. That's kind of my 2 cents on it. Real quick.
Yeah, I think I would choose the same.
Right.
I would
versus going to like a specialty facility or something like that. It's like be at home where the baby's going to be and where it's going to grow and all that stuff.
And I'll say I don't know enough about it to even. I've never even seen it. I've never seen footage of that, so I don't even know kind of like what it entails. But I mean, interesting. Well, the first thing that comes to mind is how people will say that dolphins are like rapey. They'll say that term that like they will like hump people.
Apparently they're one of, I don't know how many animals, maybe the only animal that I've heard that they have. I feel like I've heard that they've raped and killed people.
That's crazy. So
But
like,
I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe
I'm
you
not
guys can
saying
clarify.
that that's going to happen with these birth things, but I just wonder. I wonder what that connection would be, or what that's all about.
Right.
I don't know enough about to say.
Me neither. I don't know enough about it. I think they're cool though. I think dolphins are very interesting.
Oh yeah, I think they're awesome. I just think that those are just the things I've heard about.
Totally. And then Brianna says Gojira. Yeah, that's the Japanese name for Godzilla. And it's also
awesome
like,
band.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands, Gojira. For people who like heavy music, a lot of their albums are fantastic. Magma's a really good one.
Yeah.
The most recent one, Fortitude, I'm not that into personally, but they're really, really solid band. I like those guys a lot.
And they're on tour right now with Mastodon. Well, their tour starts very soon.
Right.
And if their tickets weren't so expensive, we probably would have gone because their first show is in Portland, but it was a pretty spicy price.
Yeah. Interesting. The state crest of Michigan sometimes has two antlered elks with fish-tail bodies. Very, very interesting. Fish-tail bodies. Yeah, that's curious. So, okay. So Hank is saying they say the child is advanced with dolphin birth.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Right. I have a thing with I guess one of the things that I think is really tricky, I've brought this up so many times, and I feel like diet is actually a really good example to bring up with this. It's that if it were like a family tradition to give birth with dolphins, that would be one thing.
Yeah.
It's like if your mom gave birth to you with dolphins and then she was born with dolphins and it's like part of your guys' thing, it's like what you guys do as a family.
Yeah.
That's a separate situation. But when you've never been exposed to any of this stuff, it's just tricky to know what to do, basically. It's tricky to know what's right. It's tricky to know even like what you're supposed to eat,
Yeah.
What's good for you, what's bad for you, this and that. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of notice is that the tradition is destroyed. And so when you live in a world in the Western world, where tradition has been destroyed like many times over in like a bunch of different ways, you're left with the people who don't know what to do.
Right. Yeah.
You're left with the people with no identity, with no sacred center either, with nothing to fight for, I guess, in a lot of ways. And so we're seeing a lot of people, including us and people in the chat and stuff like that, where we're having to find our own way that our parents did not teach us and their parents didn't teach them or whatever, and maybe some of the things that we're going back to are things that our ancestors did and all that kind of stuff. But it's just really interesting, just this whole idea of like not having a tradition and then having to kind of find your own way with basically everything. So how much have we all had to collectively unlearn, from our childhood and things like that. And so when things like this kind of come up, I just think about that of like, well, if it was part of my cultural sort of thing, how I identified with things, or if I knew that it was really safe or beneficial to the baby, that would be one thing. And then you have your family to kind of fall back on to be like, well, I like my family. I love my family. I love how I grew up or whatever. But if you don't have that, it's just hard to say, because then you have to go out of your way and you kind of have to be like maybe a, I don't know, in your own way, kind of like a pioneer to step out and do something like that.
Right.
Right. So just a random thought about that with some of these decisions that we all got to make here. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Okay. A lot of comments just came through for us on our side.
Yeah. The dolphin thing is intriguing. Seems like.
Yeah. Michigan equals chariot card. I love this sync because of the whole car thing with Detroit. Very interesting. Well, that's good. Gordy just says owls just kill people and there's no rape involved. So
right on. Dolphin milk is closer to human. Closer to human than goat milk.
Wow,
Oh,
interesting.
Right on.
So the dolphin rape theory fits the. I'm assuming that's a Merovingian story. Their matriarch was raped. I tell the story in PG form. Okay, gotcha.
Ah.
Interesting. Like you live by the ocean and you swim with the dolphins all the time. Yeah, have a dolphin birth.
Yeah, like if you had a relationship with them or something, I could see that being a thing. Because the other thing that I think about is like, I mean, it's just obviously a dolphin is living in the water, but all creatures have the instinct when a baby is born or a kitten is born, bring a kitten that's a stray. A lot of times they'll take the kitten in, and they'll treat it as their own. So these animals have this instinct to, just know what to do when a birth happens. And so, I wonder how much of it is that the dolphin is just like, oh, okay, there's a birth. Okay, I'm going to do what I would do if it's a dolphin, but it's a baby. And they're so intelligent that they're able to pivot and like come in and be that for the baby or whatever.
Can you imagine like what they would pick up on a energetic level?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I kind of now want to look into this.
Yeah, this is intriguing. I'm intrigued. Just
see some footage because I've never even, I didn't even know that this was a thing. Really? No idea.
And so Brianna says, have you guys seen that dolphins transmit holograms when they talk? I have not seen that, no. If there's imagery or video or whatever, put that in the Telegram chat if you don't mind.
Yeah, totally.
And so it sounds like John Lilly is the person here. John Lilly was convinced if you could bond and mind meld with a dolphin, it would show you the future and they have some access to higher realms. Yeah, I can see that. Being still in the water and water being as powerful as it is, yeah. Did you guys know that dolphins name themselves and their dolphin friends all call them by their chosen name sound? What?
Ah, cool.
No, that's fascinating. That's really cool. This is reminding me, the only thing that's coming to mind, I guess, with all of this stuff is I've heard that like killer whales, or maybe it's another whale, but there's some whales that they sing songs, and that's what they're doing is they're singing a song unbeknownst to us. But they will sing a song, leave, and like do their migratory pattern, return like a year or two later, and then continue the song exactly where they left off.
Oh, wow. I vaguely remember that being something that you've told me before. That's cool. Yeah. There's something else.
There you go. So Gordy's saying, yeah, man, we're creating our own traditions from scratch. It's empowering. We start the new evolution. I like that.
Yeah.
I do think, just saying, I know I said that traditions are being destroyed and stuff, but there is an opportunity there. So I like your perspective with all of that. There's an opportunity there, and then I will also say that there is also a blessing in disguise and silver linings with that too. Nice, nice. So Brianna looks like she's going to look into that. Very cool, very cool. Okay.
And then somebody said they had left a message.
Yeah, totally. Okay, cool. We'll get to that.
Asked the question.
I left a message asking about altars. Do you have one in the home? That's a good question. And if so, how do you go about starting my own? What is important to be mindful of? That's an awesome question. I love that.
That is a great question.
So we will definitely get to that. So Gabe has one more message.
Okay.
I think it's like a minute long. Let's listen to that, and then we'll listen to what else people have left
for us.
Cool. But I really like that question.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, because both of us have good we'll have a lot to say about that. That's such a great one.
Oh, okay. I think you left a voicemail on my actual just my Google Voice number. So it's not going to be in the Telegram, but I'll listen to it, or I can play it or whatever.
Okay, cool.
All right. So here's Gabe. We'll just go in order real quick. So hang in there. So for your altar question.
Book that I recommend everybody checks out, and he has a lot of interviews on it, called The Passion of the Critics of Ayn Rand. And he is an Ayn Rand scholar and authority, I would even say. He actually got access to some of her private correspondences and her private journal So he has like the inside scoop on her mind and her private life. And so that's another book that James Valiant wrote. And I find it so fascinating that he's got one book in ancient Roman history that he's a total authority on. And he's got another book on something so much more recent. And so, so valuable to get a real deep look on Ayn Rand's mentality. So again, I'm just dropping his name and recommending him to everybody because those are probably two books that are pretty high on my list. So, all right, I think I'll shut up again. Maybe.
I like that. Maybe that's awesome. Okay, cool. So yeah, Gabe's talking about James Valiant. Thanks, man. I'll look into that for sure. And you posted some links here in the Telegram. So if you're interested in some of what Gabe has to say, join the Telegram. We already have 19 people in the
awesome.
Telegram. So and we just started it today.
Cool.
That's pretty rad.
Nice.
Gabe is a wealth of information, to say the least, and we are here for it. Yeah. All right, so let's see what's going on with this voicemail. Although I think we get the gist of what your question is.
Yeah, if there's more in the voicemail, we can play it, but we can play it anyway, though.
I was just wondering, do you guys have an altar? And if you did, how do I go about starting my own? What's important? Bye.
Great question.
Nice. I love that, my cherie.
I love hearing everybody's voice. It's really nice.
Yeah, there's a power to it.
Yeah, it's nice, obviously, for people to be in the chat and all of it, but it's always nice to hear somebody's voice. That's one of the things I love about Telegram. And then even I know like in Instagram, you can leave voice messages for people, but I really like that feature.
Yeah. That's cool that you just called my number too and left a voicemail. That also works.
Yeah, his Google Voice.
Yeah, totally. So do you want to start this one or do you want me to start?
You can start.
Okay. So with your altar, all I can do is just tell you my approach, obviously, right? And so I have an altar right there, actually. So it's kind of like my esoteric bookshelf. I have binders. I literally have 12 black binders. So it's there's an altar, but it's also a shelf. And so a lot of things are very much kind of in the same vein. I would say that a lot of all my tarot decks are there as an example. I have 12 binders, one for each sign of the zodiac. So I have drawings for each sign. I have notes for each sign. I've got a lot of information about each sign in each of those binders. And then all of my main symbolism books are also in that shelf right there. I've got some other things too, but the way I started my altar was, I feel like for me, an important thing for my altar has been honoring my life, basically. And I think that it's getting into some of what I was saying earlier about your story. And so personally for me, yes, I think you can put, figurines of different deities on your altar if you want to do that. You can put different totems that maybe are religious or spiritual in nature or encode certain things that are meaningful to you. I would encourage all of that stuff. My personal approach has been a lot of me reminding myself of who I am and where I come from, and me honoring my story, my heritage, and my family. And so I have above my altar, I have a painting from my grandmother's house as an example. And it's not a fancy painting at all by any means. It's not even an original, but I have deep-seated memories of this painting from when I was a child. And so when she passed and all of her stuff was kind of just being spread around or getting rid of or whatever, I saw that was available and I was like, I have to take this. And so I took it, I reframed it and everything else. It's just above my altar. It's of a mountain. And so I even like the symbolism of the fact that it's a mountain. It's very simple. It's very basic, but it's like, I feel the love of my grandma and I feel the love of my family when I see that. And so I think that that's kind of what you want to do with your altar, is that you want to put things on it. This is just one approach, but you want to put things on it that maybe are symbolic of your story, basically. The good, the bad, and the ugly, guys. That's the other thing too.
Right.
On my altar, personally, I have things that warm my heart where I think about my family or I think about my childhood. I have like little, I have like a little golden Mario from like Super Mario Brothers on my altar. I have like a little army man, like the little green army guys, right? Um, and these were like important things in my childhood. I'm obviously Mario, and then I've people forever have associated me with Mario Brothers, and so I can't not get away from that. You know, I have candies that like I have my grandpa's favorite candy on my altar. I have a cookie from my grandma on my altar. She's, like I said, she's no longer with us, but when I created the altar and I was at her house, and she made the same cookies forever, guys. For my whole entire life, she made the exact same cookie, and it's just a particular flavor. Most people wouldn't think it's very good, to be honest. It's kind of like it's kind of bland. It's like grandma flavor in a way. It's not too sweet or anything, but I ate the shit out of them as a kid. You know what I mean? And so I just knew, I'm like, how much longer is she going to be making cookies for? And so I took a cookie, I brought it with me. I have other things like that on my altar, you know, so I have things that remind me of my folks and stuff like that, stuff from Fresno. I have things like, you know, like one of the things I have is I have a vial of dirt from my grandparents' grave, you know, on my altar. So things like that. So to me, starting an altar, it's a piece by piece sort of thing. And so as things come to you that make sense, as you come across things in real life that make sense, just add it to your altar. And personally, I really like having smaller things. I like having a small altar because I would rather have more objects than not. And but you could do whatever you want. That's kind of the beautiful thing about it. You know, I have crystals, I have a obsidian. I have 2 obsidian pieces from Mexico, which was strategic. So to me, that's really cool. I'll put tarot cards on my altar if I'm working with a certain card or something like that. I've got all sorts of different things going on up there. But I would just say, honestly, it's like what feels right to you. You know, what feels right to you in that moment. One thing I would say is that I don't think it's a bad idea to maybe have it be elementally balanced. So something that might be reminiscent of fire, something else that might be water. It could be literally water, you know? So think of the magician's table and how the magician, he has a wand, he has a cup, he has a sword, and then he has a disc. And so I don't think it's a bad idea to think of the elements when you're creating your altar. I have things that my parents have given me. So I have an Aztec sunstone that was my parents at one point. They've given me a couple of Aztec sunstones, but I have one small one, and it's awesome. It's really cool looking, and I have that on my altar as well. And so just being like a fat kid at heart, it's like I have a portion of a slice of my favorite pizza of all time that I grew up with. You know, just a tiny little piece, but I have it. And it totally, like when I see it and I just me knowing it's there, it's just like, dude, this makes so much sense that you would have that.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
And so anyways, along my travels, I found different things. I found I'm just going through a whole list of stuff on my altar, but I just think it's kind of helpful of like, you can play with your altar and you can like make it what you want it to be, and it can evolve and it can change. And, you know, I think it makes sense to kind of like clear it and to make sure that what you currently have on it is what you want to work with. And so I have things from India, I have things from Ireland, I have things from Spain, I have things from Mexico and stuff like that. So along my travels, I've kind of picked up things, you know, over time that meant something for me. And so I think having synchronistic sort of moments or events where maybe there's a little, there's something to take away from that event, even if it's a pebble, honestly, if it's a pebble or a pine cone or a shell or a coin or whatever, it doesn't have to be anything grand. If it's a note, you know, if it's a note from somebody and it has their handwriting on it and there's someone that you respect and honor and this and that, it's like, I think it's kind of like, it actually puts you in a different mindset when you start thinking about things in terms of like altar pieces, you know, because then little things maybe that they weren't insignificant, but little things that maybe you just had in a drawer or something, or you had in a box that you hadn't seen in years. When you put it on your altar, it's no different than like framing an art piece. So if you just, drew something on a piece of paper, it could be beautiful, it could be amazing, it could be great as is. But once you put it in a frame, especially if it's a nice frame and it's matted, it takes on a whole new meaning. You're putting more focus on it, and you're turning it into something else. And so I think that that's partly what the altar is about. And I've gone through different phases of like really being super attentive to it, and then being a little bit more relaxed with it, with what I have. But I'll say that generally it's constantly evolving. And one of my big things, just to kind of put a bow on it, is that honoring your childhood and kind of honoring your inner child, I think, is important. So if there was a cartoon, as an example, that you really loved as a kid, and you're like, I still have very fond memories of X, Y, or Z, I think it's okay to honor your inner child. So instead of it having to be this like super witchy, magical wizard thing, and you have to have like a human skull on it or like whatever, I think that it needs to be your true essence of who you actually are, and where you came from. That's just my personal approach and opinion. And so as an example, I went through a whole Pez period in my life where I collected like hundreds of Pez dispensers. And guys, I'm not proud of it, okay? But this is just the fact of the matter, is I had like hundreds of Pez dispensers for a very, very long time. And in like junior high is when I was like geeking out about it, in like early high school and stuff. And so eventually I sold all of them. I did not need them to be lugged around from state to state and from place to place. But like I still have like the head of their skull Pez dispenser, So to me, it's just like one of these things where I'm like, I think that I resonate with this dispenser just because it's very straightforward and whatever. And so I just took the head off of it. And so now that head of that dispenser is sitting on my altar. So instead of pretending like I never collected Pez dispensers or like they never meant anything to me, I'm actually honoring it. And so the other thing that I do too, that I think is really important, is I've actually honored, for the lack of a better word, traumatic events. And so if there's something that happens in your life that maybe is traumatizing or really tested you, instead of just sweeping it under the rug and pretending like it never happened, you can actually honor that event by taking some sort of totem, or maybe representing it with some sort of note or a sigil or something along those lines, and putting it on your altar. And therefore you're actually acknowledging that event, and you're acknowledging the work that you need to do in order to have more healthy reactions to things, or healthy boundaries, or whatever the thing is. And so I've done that several times where I felt as though I messed up, quote unquote, and that I wanted to correct some sort of wrong, or that I knew I had some introspective work to do. And so that event was significant to me. But now I'm old enough now to know that actually this event was a blessing, and I'm going to grow from this event. So I've honored some of those events on my altar, and I still have pieces that are up there to remind me of some of these things. So you can use it in so many different ways. But I think that it kind of, in a lot of ways, it's almost like a gateway to your subconscious. And so I think that's kind of partly the role of the altar. But you can have fun, and you can do whatever comes to mind, man. You might think of stuff that no one's ever done before, that totally resonates and clicks with you. And so there's many things like this that I kind of have going on there. So I mean, if I talked about altar pieces, I could go all day, honestly. Not because I have so many pieces, but I guess I kind of do, because they're all small. And so I have a lot of little small things, and they each kind of have their own story. And so anyway, so that's kind of how I roll with my altar. What about you, Bub?
Yeah, that was really great, Bub. Thanks for sharing all of it.
Yeah, you got it.
I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time, but
yeah.
I mean, a lot of my stuff, I mean, Mario was the one that inspired me to start an altar, because one of the things for me was, finding my own spirituality, and starting an altar actually was part of that. And so he inspired me to do that. And kind of the same thing that he was saying. I started collecting little things when we would travel, or For example, I have, the jacks, the game jacks that you could, the metal jacks or whatever, where you would bounce a ball and then try and pick up as many as you could. That is seriously one of my favorite memories as a child. And so I found, I just bought some jacks at a thrift store or whatever, and those are there. One of my things is if you haven't noticed already, I'm a huge cat lady. And our cat Carl is very special to me, and he is like he's like a soulmate to me. So I collect his, like, when his whiskers fall off, if you have a cat, their whiskers fall off and you might find them on the floor or whatever. And I save them and I look at them like little blessings. Like it's like a little blessing from Carl. And so it's a way I honor him by keeping those and having them on my altar. I have Gordy sent both Mario and I a pair of his, I just call them Gordy balls because they're these round rocks that there's like metal. There is definitely metal or something in there that there's like a magnetic, like sense to them, or a magnetic quality.
Yeah, they're magnetized.
Yeah, they're totally magnetized. And so I have the pair that Gordy sent to me, that those are on my altar. Little things like that are very special to me. But as Mario was saying, honoring my inner child, definitely honoring my family. So I have a lot of things, that I asked my mom, do you have any things from great grandma that she really valued, or what have you, little knickknacks or whatever it was. And my mom actually had some things and she sent them to me. And so I have stuff like that on my altar. And I'll also second the advice of clearing it every once in a while, because I know when I should clear it. It calls to me. It tells me it wants to be cleared. It tells me that it wants to be shifted, that there's energy that needs to move. And one of the things that I did when we traveled to Ireland, we traveled to Europe. We went to a lot of places, but we traveled to Ireland, and before we left, I took out a painting that my great grandfather did. And he was a fabulous artist, and he was hired by like brewing companies in Milwaukee and seed companies in Wisconsin to illustrate ads. So like the old school ads from like the 20s kind of thing. He was doing those. So like he had like pinup women, and they were with like beer glasses, and just a plethora of different art. And my mom sent me some, and I hung one of his paintings above my altar while we traveled. And I had some really interesting like dreams that came through on that trip, and some interesting sensations. And I swore my great grandpa was like kind of working through me while we were in Ireland. And I really attributed it to the fact that I had put that on my altar. So something else to be aware of, like if you're going to make this a very personal thing that's going to be your essence, the things you put on there could come through in your life in a way that you didn't expect, or you might make a new connection with something that you're like, oh, okay. And then you might remember, whoa, I put that on my altar just the other day, and it was connected to this situation. So, and that could be something that comes through. But I find it to be a very therapeutic practice as well. And, I gather a lot of stuff, or I'll bring in like, things from outside if I find something on a hike that's really intriguing.
Right.
But a lot of times I've found things where, I've purchased something or I've seen something, and automatically I'm like, that's an altar piece. Like you just know. Yeah. So it's kind of one of those things, as you said. So a lot of the things that Mario said is kind of how I look at it as well. But it's a great topic, actually. And
it is. And actually, it's reminding me of all of these little stories, even just thinking about my altar right now. I know it's just right there so I can see what's going on or whatever, but I feel like I just had a flashback of like, all these different parts of my life, and so that's one of the great benefits of having an altar, is just, again, a reminder of self.
Yeah.
And a reminder of who you actually are, without trying to be some, like I said earlier, some like Instagram witch or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, just be real with yourself, and what you really value and what you really honor and what actually speaks to you. And so I would personally say, I think aesthetics do matter to a certain degree, but I would say that it's more of a feeling.
Yeah.
because I've seen some people's altars online, and you could just tell it's very much, it's more of an aesthetic sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I can't say I can't say that it doesn't mean something to them or whatever, but I would just say that feeling above all is to me kind of what I go with everything. Does it feel right to be there?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my thing. But like I said, I've got all sorts of things. So I'm looking at stuff. It's stuff my dad has made. There's been times in my life where I've wanted to be reminded of something. Like I wanted to have stronger boundaries. So something that actually embodies boundaries, or I felt like I wanted to have more energy. So something that embodies energy or fire or something like that. That's another way you can do it. So you can work with the elements that way, or you can acknowledge maybe what you are aspiring towards, and find something that belongs on your altar that's going to remind you of that, or is going to keep you honest with that goal or whatever.
Yeah.
Even if it's a tarot card or something. That's why the tarot is fantastic, is because no matter what you might be thinking about, no matter what situation you might be going through or what goals you might have, spiritual or otherwise, there's probably a tarot card that corresponds with it. So you can get that card, put it on your altar, and you're charging your relationship with that card. And so this is actually perfect because it's reminding me of other things related to my magical practice and yours that we should totally talk about at some point.
Yeah, that would be a good
thank you so
episode.
much, my Sherry, for just kind of opening up this topic of conversation, because I'm totally into it.
Yeah, me too. We really enjoy this side of things.
And so that reminds me too, some people have pocket altars, literally in a little tin can, like an Altoids tin.
Oh,
And so you can create pocket altars that you carry with you that are for travel purposes. And I'll say, I don't know if Sarah G is still here in the chat, but her sister makes beautiful little figurines and larger figurines too, many of the Virgin Mary. But she has other like kind of spin-offs of that. And a lot of people have purchased her little figurines and used them in their pocket altars.
Yeah.
You know, sort of thing. So anyway, so Sarah, if you want to post a link to your sister's stuff, I think people would probably appreciate it. I've actually been wanting to purchase my own piece from her for a while. So at some point, I think I'll do that.
I saw Davin is asking where people are posting stuff in Telegram. So we started a Last Thursday Telegram, and it's called Last Thursday Live. The link for it is down in the description.
Yes, indeed. So let's check the chat for a bit. What do you think?
Sure.
Because I see some good comments, and I can't remember where we left off, but let's see. I see people writing Pez in the comments with some of these that I'm looking at. That's funny. Okay. So I just scrolled up for a bit. Oh, cool. My Sherry, she just got goosebumps. Right on. Hopefully it was something we said. Or I said. Okay. Crystals. Yeah, absolutely. Crystals are fantastic altar allies. 100%. Hey, Davin. Nice to see you, dude. Aw, Sarah's saying, my pa saved my grandma's brownies as well. That's really cool. I mean, there's no way to replicate it. It'll never be made that way ever again. And so I feel privileged that I even just had the foresight to be able to kind of acknowledge that while she was still alive, that I need to take this home with me. Stacy Sunshine says, my altar is in flow all the time. Yes, crystals. Benjamin, yes, talismans, absolutely. Right on, Bearsworth. Cool stream. Thanks, man. Nice to see you. Such great advice for a really sweet question. Thanks, Mario. You got it, man. That's what Slick says. I'm never going to forget. You have a super old piece of your favorite pizza. That's great. Yeah. It's really, really small. Whatever. But
it's awesome. It's one of the newer additions to her within the last maybe year or two.
It's in my blood, guys. This pizza is in my blood. Honestly, it truly is. And so the fact that I have so many memories after baseball games and soccer games and just Friday nights and family gatherings and stuff, it was always the same pizza. And it's like, I have such a strong nostalgic thing for it. It's absolutely crazy.
He one time brought a pizza home. Okay, so because it's in Fresno, and he would drive.
Yeah,
and
California.
It was just one of the trips. I didn't go on the trip, and he literally drove home with a pizza so I could try it.
It's true.
And
guys.
it was so awesome. I remember being like, "Oh my god, that's so cool that he's gonna do that."
Nice. So Gordy says, I started sewing things into my clothes that called me to do it. I've done the same thing. Not so much my clothes, actually, but my boots. And so I've put different things in my boots. And it's like with every step, you're charging it. So every day you wear that, you're like charging it. And actually, there's a really, really good movie that gets into this called Phantom Thread.
I was going to say.
It's freaking awesome. It's a fantastic film. I think it's Paul Thomas Anderson. And God damn it, what's the actor's name? I can't remember, but it's the guy who's in There Will Be Blood. But yeah, he is fantastic. And the whole movie is really great. And I know you really liked it too.
I love that movie. It became one of my favorite movies after we watched it.
Yeah, so it's about a guy who's a clothing designer, fashion designer.
He's a dressmaker.
Dressmaker, thank you. And he sews little messages and words and little poems, I think, or something in some of these dresses, unbeknownst
to the
women who are actually buying the dresses.
Great
but that's
story.
just like his thing. And so it's called Phantom Thread. So it's Daniel Day-Lewis, who's a stud. Yeah, he's a great actor. Yeah, exactly. So Stacy says, in a sense, I feel like my home is an altar. 100%. That's the thing too. It can literally be a strategic sort of thing on a shelf or in your pocket or whatever. It could be your whole home. It could be your whole property.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. I completely agree with that. That's great. Yeah. So Alicia says those items strike emotional resonance, which gives the meditation and prayers power. Yeah. Okay, just working my way down here.
Nice. Very cool. Oh, this has been super fun.
Yeah, this is great. My Sherry is just saying that. Thank you so much. I have amazing personal sentimental trinkets that I just love looking at. Yeah.
Yeah, then you're going to
Imagine
you're gonna
putting
have fun.
them all together and then having like a sacred center. That's another way of how I look at it is you have a sacred center spiritual location within the home, or literally it's mobile. So I actually have a maybe this is like an advanced conversation, but there's other things with my altar that I think we should get into at some point.
Yeah.
I might save it for later or whatever, because it's kind of opening up a rabbit hole. But there's lots of unique, interesting things you can do to stay corded with your altar. I'll put it that way. If you choose to do that. Feel like when you honor your inner child, it blesses you with imagination, ideas, your inner muse. Yeah, man, exactly.
That's a good
and we're
point,
just
Ben.
that's just who we are. It's like we're still those same children in many ways, you know.
Yeah, we'll always be those children, you know, and that's why childhood is so precious too.
So Raising Star Seedling says, and I recognize you, by the way. Hello, from Instagram, if I'm not mistaken. So she says, I had never thought to honor traumatic healing before, and this is totally inspiring me as a Scorpio with many battle scars to remind me of my journey thus far. Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. Thank you for sharing this insight, Mario. Yeah. I know that I did not do this for the first handful of years I had my altar, but at a certain point it started making sense. And I'm like, when you try and suppress an event, you're doing more damage, actually. In my opinion. I guess it might depend on the event. I don't know. Still growing and learning and experiencing things, right? But I've just found when I choose to acknowledge it and then honor it, things just move way more smoothly. And so ever since I started doing that and I have that practice, I don't know. I just feel like my life has been a little easier with certain things. Or now whenever something does come that's potentially a conflict or hurdle or whatever, I can just navigate those waters that much better because of that.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with like forgiveness too when you start doing that.
Yep, like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. That's how I look at it. And so let's see here. Yeah, totally. I think scrapbooks, whiteboards, vision boards, altars of the type Mario's describing feel like overlapping territory to me. Yeah, for sure. It can take on so many different expressions.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure. A
different for
painting could be
everybody.
an altarpiece,
Right.
you know. Bless you, babe.
Thank you.
Gordy calls his daughter Bub.
Ah, nice.
And Gordy, I've said this before, man. My mom's her nickname is Gordy. She spells it with a I-E. So it's just funny. It's trippy to me when I talk to you because I think of my mom like every single time.
Well, for a while there, anytime when I would correspond with Gordy online, I would spell it with an IE and then remembering that, oh no, that's Maria's mom.
Right.
Gordy spells it with a Y.
Yeah, exactly. My Christmas tree becomes an altar every year. Yeah.
Makes sense.
What is an altar? What isn't an altar? This is an interesting conversation. For
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So maybe after this we can check the Telegram, see what's going on.
Yeah, we're already at almost 2.5 hours.
8 Interlander. Mark Stavish has some great books on all this. I've read one Mark Stavish book, which was his Egregore book, which I thought was fantastic. So I like Mark Stavish. I would love to talk to him at some point, but I'll have to read some of his other work because that Egregore book is really solid. I'm not sure what book you're referring to or the books you're referring to, but I can vouch for his credibility. Indeed. Pocket altars. Got to catch them all. There are communities online. There are like Instagram accounts, I'm pretty sure, where they show people's pocket altars, and it's freaking cool, man. I mean, it's just I just love little miniature type things, you know, and so I could see myself doing something like that.
Yeah, I can see you doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, so you don't have a sister. Interesting. I'm totally getting confused then. So, I thought we should talk about this at some other point because I was pretty convinced that you had a sister that was doing stuff like that. Portland Mary, actually. Or is that just your friend, or am I thinking of a different Sarah entirely?
You might be thinking of a different one.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to clear stuff like this up then.
It is. Now we know.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like that. I don't know which one you're reading. My ma is an upholsterer and puts little notes embedded in the furniture. Lol. That's cute.
Nice. Yeah, it's like all about the intention. Just like they talk about the structured water or, whatever it is that you can put these intentions in things and it will carry through for sure.
Interesting. Oh my God, dude, Sarah, I know I just assumed because of your photo too. Oh yeah, dude, that is hilarious. You look like another Sarah who has a sister who does this. And this whole entire time, I thought that you were her sister. I thought that I thought your sister was this lady and whatever. So my apologies, but now I know.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. That is so funny.
Well, that's the internet
Because
for you too,
because that Sarah also Sarah G, you just clarify this. We have not done a study session together, correct? Or a reading together, correct? Because that'll clear a few things up.
Nice.
Awesome. So maybe check the Telegram and then we can land this ship.
I think so.
this
Yeah.
plane, whatever.
Yeah. This has been a nice
Dock this ship.
chat. Yeah, we'll dock it until
right.
next week.
Yes. So let's see what's going on here. Sweet. 24 people. Awesome. And people are posting stuff.
Nice. Awesome, guys. Thanks
guys
for
are-
coming over.
Yes, exactly. Okay, cool. Yeah, no. So Sarah and I have not met. I would, dude, that's so funny. I was under the assumption that you were another Sarah. Okay, so nice. So I think that's it
Okay.
as far as messages are concerned, but people are posting stuff, so that's awesome.
Sweet. I'm so glad we started the Telegram. It's such a good way to just like keep informed with people and
Totally.
yeah. Now we can share ideas and
So dock the UFO.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, it's coming down, baby.
Indeed.
All right.
Right on. All right. Well, let's add this to the stream here. And do it to it.
Alrighty, so yep, last Thursday, every Thursday. Thank you guys for being here. We really appreciate it. We are still really enjoying this stream. We look forward to it. And we were talking about it, we just have like, because we can make our own schedules basically, but we also kind of have, we just don't have a typical work schedule because we make our own schedule, but we're just finding that this is kind of like our, it's a really nice, relaxing, almost like weekendy kind of feeling for us. So
Right.
we're having fun with it.
We are, for sure.
So we'll be here next week. Next week on The Healing Home, I will be with Kaylee Burkana. We are going to talk astrology. So that will be on 3/28 at 4 p.m. So next Tuesday on The Healing Home, you can come and hang out with us. I'm excited to pick her brain because she is a really talented astrologer. And I've had my chart read by her, and she had really great insights to share with me that really helped click a lot of things in. And so that'll be a really good one. Going to talk noble astrology with Miss Kaylee. And as always, patreon.com/thehealinghome. If you'd like to show some support in a different way, all patrons get my newsletter or my full moon offering announced to them a couple days early, and you'll have the ability to purchase it before anybody else. And here up on the screen is my menu. One thing that you can add to this one is, like we talked about in the beginning of the show, my CBD body butter whip. Just made a fresh batch today.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's an orange cedarwood scented, just lovely, luscious body butter. I've formulated it so that it doesn't get like super oily, because sometimes when you, sometimes body butters, you can apply it and it'll be super oily or greasy. But I add arrowroot powder to it, which brings that down a lot and it absorbs into the skin really quickly. A lot of people have really loved that body whip. I really love it. Mario loves it. He uses it in his beard as well. So that is also available right now. And you can email me if you are interested in any of the products. So michelleshealinghome@gmail.com. You can also schedule consultations with me too through email. You can text me at 503-568-1569 as well, or just head to my website. And if you want to just take a look around and see what's going on, I don't have an online store, as I've said before, but you will be able to go to like my newsletter link, and then you can go to the latest issue, and it will have also a list of other products that I have available. And snail mail, if you guys feel like sending us something via the post office, P.O. Box 930, Carson, Washington, 98610.
And then Symbolic Studies, you can find everything I'm up to at symbolicstudies.com. I'm going to be doing, well, we have a slide for this, but I'm going to be doing a presentation this weekend. I think it's going to be for tomorrow night. But I've said that before, and then I've pushed it to Saturday. So we'll see. But it's going to be on the cosmic tree. And so I gave a presentation about the world tree on Michelle's Healing Home, the Healing Home.
Yep.
And I gave that maybe like, how long ago? A couple months ago? A few months ago?
Yeah, it was a few months ago now.
Yeah. And so it was really awesome. And I liked it. So I've expanded it and I've refined it. And I'm ready to talk about it on my channel. And so I'm really pumped for that. It's gonna be a good one. And so check that out. But obviously, if you guys are interested in tarot readings or study sessions or anything like that, I'm also just letting people know now too that I'm a graphic designer and I'm open for business. So I call that Symbolic Studios, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just me, guys, pretty much. But I'm doing design work for people, and several people have reached out ever since I started announcing it. And like I'm like working with some people who we hang out with online and watch your show and watch my shit and everything else. So
yeah,
it's been beautiful because they've all been so chill and awesome to work with so far. So I'm just kind of like, I'm so glad that people are reaching out about that. It's awesome.
Yeah, me too, because Mario also has for a long time been wanting to work with more like-minded people who are open to, being more creative with symbolism, and they have a certain message they want to get across. And Mario and all of his knowledge with all this and experience, it's just been really cool that he's been able to just find more people that are, on the same page. It helps to work with people that are on the same page.
Totally.
Yeah.
Agreed. So there it is, the cosmic tree. So you can expect me to announce that probably tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to you doing your revised version of it.
Thank you. So here we are back. One last look at the chat, guys. Thank you. Lots of people are saying very nice things. Thank you, Brianna. Thanks you to both of you. What a cool show. Gordy loves Kaylee. Who doesn't? She's cool. Slick says hugs and squeezes, fam.
Yeah.
So just very, very pleasant stuff over here.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. We like hanging out with yous.
Definitely. All right, guys. Until next time.
All righty. Good
Take
night.
care. See ya.
Bye-bye.